opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Barbers Chat Network, our great partners at H&B Media, or any of our media peers. We're just five idiots who love sports and love to talk shit. If you're offended easily, then this show isn't for you. And for those of you who aren't offended easily, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Remember, it's only entertainment.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold. My agent just said we made 100 flat. Make it back and make it stack. This like no Steven Jack. Put my rings up in the camera like I needed that. Up in the air and at the rim is where I meet them at. Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. It is Friday, January 24th, 2025. I am your host, Scott. Of course, you can follow me on all social media platforms at Barbershare Scott. Follow the Barbers Chat Network at Barbers Chat Net. And of course, follow our partners, H&B Media at H&B Media TV on Twitter and Instagram, man. Of course, subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barbers Chair Network. If you listen to this on the podcast feed, you can click on the link right there in the description box. And if you are watching this on YouTube or Twitter, whatever, you can take your phone up to the screen and it'll take you, the QR code will take you right to the link, man. If you can subscribe to any of the three tiers. But if you subscribe to the $10 holiday, that's Barbershop Access tier, you will get 25% off on your first order at the Barbers Chair Net merchandise store, and that is the bcnetshop.com, man, bcnetshop.com. We got a nice show for y'all today on deck. Bang isn't here today. He's traveling. He might join us in the local hour via phone, wherever he's at. Don't know yet. Courtney is out for the day. She'll be back with us on Monday, man. So we got the homie Mariano joining us in hour two. Where we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of things, man. But of course, got a big local hour today, man. So let's just bring in my co-host for the afternoon, evening. We've got Dante back. Y'all ain't seen Dante all year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mikey
Happy New Year, niggas.
On January 24th. Say Happy New Year's nuts. I'm almost in Black History Month, niggas. And we got Mikey here, man. Mike, we got to play Boys to Men, End of the Road, man. You got this second to last episode, bro. Like, and by the way, I did not fire him. For anybody text me, why you get rid? I didn't get rid of Mikey, man. So
it was the Brian Flores comments, bro. I had to get up out of here. Nah, but I didn't even know it was only two left.
Only two left, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun though, man. Y'all will see me pop in when I can, when my schedule allows.
Yeah, he'll be on the bench. You can come on whenever the floor is yours, man. So, but me and Dante be holding it down for y'all. Of course, Bang will be back on Monday as well. We got a lot of stuff going on today, man, here in the local hour. But before we get there, how y'all feeling as we get into the weekend?
I'm solid, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I know we talk about politics, we talk about everything, and so I just really been sitting back and watching the executive orders and everything that's been going down, and it's gonna be interesting 4 years. I've also noticed how a lot of companies are starting to like bend the knee and kiss the ring and like really make sure people know, like, hey, it's okay. Like, it's okay if you voted for Trump. Like, I don't know if you saw the tweet Bank of America put out today.
That
That
shit
was like,
nasty.
we take conservatives too, or some shit. Like, I'm like,
But
what
they tried to pull the Michael Jordan, Republicans too.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
nuts, bro. But no, I've just been peeping what's going on. But other than that, bro, I really can't complain. Like you said, I said in the pre-show, I got a couple days off of work because of an inch of snow. So, shout out to that. But other than that, life was good.
Definitely. Mikey, how you feeling?
I've been chilling, man. Kind of about to disconnect for a little bit. Just gotta get a little bit little, like Dante said, you see a lot of shit that people are tweeting, a lot of stuff that's just going on day to day, and that shit does take a toll on you. But I am extremely happy that I don't have to continuously refresh my phone or see what is going on with the Chicago Bears head coach hire. So I'm chilling, man. I'm glad that we got our guy and we can move on to to Championship Sunday. Like, honestly, Championship Sunday to me sometimes is a little bit better than the Super Bowl, just because you get like the matchup on both sides, NFC and AFC. So I'm geeked to have those two games, because after that, 2 more weeks, we get one football game left, and then it's baseball time for your boy, because I'm not fucking with the NBA.
I'm about to say, Mikey, I'm gonna tell you in advance. We might be in Tokyo in March, my boy. So if you could slide, I know the Cubs. We White Sox fans, but I mean,
March 18th and 19th, right?
Yep, 18th and 19th.
Yeah. I got my pasaporte, so we could dip.
Hey, we can make it
Who's
happen.
playing in Tokyo?
The Dodgers and the Cubs open the season.
Oh yeah, that's
March
right.
March 18th and 19th. Then they both go back to their spring training camps and play spring training games until the rest of the regular season starts.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, I'll be in baseball mode like in July. Unfortunately, I have to watch the NBA because I have a show to do, and the NFL is about to be gone. And man, speaking of the NFL, speaking of the Super Bowl, I have a very big announcement in hour 2. So stay tuned for that announcement. I just want to say this before we move on. Dante, you were saying the same thing about all the news. Mikey saying the same thing about trying to tap out. I just want to tell the people out there, do not let the next 4 years take your joy away. Whatever you got to do, I'm not saying don't stay informed. You have to stay informed if you're a tax-paying adult. What I'm saying? You still got to find out what's going on. But don't be following everything when Trump moves. So this nigga walked down the street. Let me find out. No, just try to give yourself some space. I've seen a lot of people who I know personally have been letting it ruin their days and stuff like that. Just don't do it. You're not gonna get through these 4 years if you're gonna do that. That's just my advice to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Stay informed, but don't let it consume you, man. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody on Twitter watching. Shout out to everybody on Instagram watching. And by the way, if you're watching on Instagram, you see on the bottom, the IG feed cuts off in an hour. Now, I don't know, because I ain't got a lot of followers on there. And if that's the case, you niggas need to go ahead and follow me at Barberchair Scott. But the stream cuts off after an hour on Instagram. And you know what's funny about that? I didn't even press the go live button on Instagram. So now we're live on Instagram. So for anybody who missed, it cuts off after an hour. Then come join us on YouTube if you're watching on the IG Live. I will be repeating this message later on, man. But let's just get into it. The local hour here on I'm Not Gonna Hold You. Bang is not here, so I will not be singing the local hour theme song. But as you can see, we got a lot to talk about. We got Caleb dressed like Shaft. He said he was dressed like Neo from the Matrix. That nigga was dressed like Shaft. We got TED Talk, Kevo, Ryan Poles, a lot of things to talk about, man. But Nikhil, you can give me the solo shot right here, because I've got a rant to kick off this, man. First of all, like I always say, man, like my homie Waz, Big Waz says, shout out to Waz, there's nothing like being right. There's few things in life better than being right. And I just want to say I was right. Me and Bane talked about this on 7 Night the Hallis a couple nights ago, and we have been talking about this coaching search really for the last 2 months. Really, honestly, all year, but really for the last 2 months of who's it going to be. And it's really picked up since the month of January came. And there's like a source off in our group chat. And Me and Mikey had some run-ins. I kind of felt like the kid from Soul Food. It's not my fault, it's your fault. Like, that's how I felt arguing with my brothers over who's going to be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. I've always said, I just didn't believe the Raider reports. I just didn't buy it. It just did not make sense to me. I understand Tom Brady's over there, but he owns 10% of that team more than I do. He don't even live in Vegas. He's not even on there all the time. And most importantly, they don't have a quarterback. And it's not like they're in that top 4, top 5 where it's realistic that they can probably get in there without giving up an entire fortune. So it just didn't make sense to me. So I always said that if he did go to Vegas, I felt it'll be because of monetary reasons. Because I didn't believe the Bears will pony up the money that the Raiders be pony up. I damn sure didn't think they'd be pony up the money that they actually gave him. By the way, we still don't really know the exact numbers because the NFL doesn't let us know exact numbers of coaches. Kevin O'Connell just got an extension. We have no idea what that contract is. Aaron Glenn just got a deal. Liam Coen just got a deal. We don't know what these contracts are, but they let the players' information out there. So, but we do know the rumor is that it's about $13 to $14 million. Alex, the chat, put that up there real quick again. He said, Ben's agent was on the Zimmer pod saying he left the Raiders league on purpose. Exactly. No, and that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. It felt like a leak. And got to give credit to Josina Anderson because I think she's one of the first people who tweeted ahead of time. She said, look at the order of the interviews. If you want to be with a specific team, aren't you going to throw smoke out there for another team so they can pay you? And that's what this was, 100%. And I'm glad to see that we finally got the guy. And I want to go back to something that was really the thing that ended the season for the Bears, and that was the Hail Mary. I remember watching the Hail Mary. I was not at that game. It was my birthday weekend that weekend, and I didn't want to spend it working. So we were at the I think it was at the DraftKings book in Wrigleyville or whatever, and we just swore that they were going to win that game. And so that was something right there that I thought was going to happen, but it didn't. And it crushed everybody, crushed all the Bears fans. Some people use that as the reason they dropped 10 in a row. I don't think that was the main reason, but I'm here to tell you this. I have a different take on that. I think it needed to happen. I think the Hail Mary needed to happen because if they win that game, they go to 5-2 and different vibe, but now you're ignoring a lot of the problems with the team. Eberflus might not keep his job. Maybe stays. Shane Waldron stays. And maybe they get together and they do get a wild card appearance. That one wild card appearance isn't worth the future of this franchise. So I feel like everything that we had to go through this season was worth it to get to the point that we're at right now. Because that was really the change to see that this doesn't work. This doesn't work. And we've seen the Bears have done stuff that they have never done in franchise history. Letting go of a coach midseason. Not only just letting go of a coach, also letting go of an offensive coordinator within weeks of each other. And then spending top money to the top prospect out there, top coaching candidate, man. So I believe the Hail Mary needs to happen. So let's get to our first topic, which is obviously Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson got the news came out on Monday, Dr. King Day. We were not on the air because of Dr. King Day. There's just a lot of stuff going on Monday. It was inauguration was going on. It was 3 NBA games going on, national championship. I knew people's attention would be everywhere. So this came out there. And me personally, when I saw Josina Anderson tweeted out about momentum is coming, saw a couple others say momentum was going to Chicago, I just felt like it was happening. I was just waiting for the initial bomb. And the funny thing about it, where we were in the chat and we were still talking about Ben Johnson, and Courtney kind of talked it into existence. She was like, I thought y'all done talking about it. Mikey puts in all caps Ben, and I swear I got like 3 texts at the same time from other people with the links, with the official news of it coming out. I want to get you guys' opinion on where you were, how you felt when it happened. Mikey, I'll go to you. What were you feeling when this news came down?
Oh, man, I was actually driving back from Wisconsin. So, if you're listening to this, please do not text and drive like I did. I got the alert on my phone and I quickly sent it over. I was shocked. I think, like you said, once Josina Anderson had put that tweet out there, I was like, hold on, like this shit is sounding a little bit more legit, when she said growing momentum that, Bears and Ben Johnson had come to an agreement. yeah, what was that, like 2 hours later that it was became official. So I was shocked. I was actually shocked that that they really got it done. I think we knew with just being the candidate and being that he kind of was the number one guy out there after Vrabel, that it was going to take some serious convincing to convince Ben Johnson to come to the Bears organization. Obviously, with the season that they had and the disappointment that they had, and the question marks surrounding Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren. And then it was going to take some significant money. And that's something that we've never really seen the Bears ever do as far as coaches. They never really paid top dollar for coaches. So I knew that it had to be like something crazy for them to go ahead and get the deal done. So I was super happy. It was always who I wanted. I always wanted an offensive-minded person to grow with. Caleb Williams, to grow with a young Rome Odunze. You just signed DJ Moore, so he's going to be with the Bears in a duration of 6 years. You want to go ahead and get somebody, to utilize him the right way. We all saw what type of player, he was last year. And it this year just didn't work out on so many levels. So when you could go get the guy, and for me, it's always important. It's like, we're not getting a guy who learned from another guy. Yes, he has a lot of influences and previous coaches, but this is his own shit. He's not Matt Nagy running Andy Reid's system and getting a job off of that. This is a play caller for the last 3 years for the Detroit Lions. If you look at it, the very first year, without him and Dan Campbell's tenure, their offense was ranking in the 20s and higher in almost every category. The moment that he got there, everything moved down to single digits. This is somebody that is running his system, his scheme. He does the play calling. He's had success in this division, which we know is probably arguably the best division in football. So that was what I wanted. I was super happy for it. I'm still like kind of shocked that they got it done. I'm just ready kind of for the season to be over with, because now I want to start getting to combine, free agency. Like, I wish this has me more excited for the Bears and the future than I was 3 weeks ago.
Dante, I know you were always on the fence. You said you're not giving these niggas nothing whatsoever. What was your thought, your feeling when this happened, and what do you feel about the Bears actually landing the big fish?
I mean, it's like the meme I put in the chat. It's like Al Pacino, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me right back, every time. And so, but I didn't go overboard this time. So, like, I'm not putting expectations on it. Of course, my homies know how I am. So they started asking me, so what you think y'all gonna win 11 games next year? I'm not gonna say anything like that until we fill the roster out and do things of that nature. But I was shocked. I was, talking myself into Mike McCarthy. Just trying to justify that hire. Pretty much that's the way I thought they were going to go when you heard all the leader of men and things like that. And then when we heard about how much money Ben wanted, I was like, I don't know. But I mean, right along the lines of them firing Eberflus during the season, we see that they are, starting to do things a little different in Hallis Hall. So hopefully, this was the perfect time to do it, because you bring in a new coach. Yes, he is another coach with no experience. However, you bring him in with a solid roster, a lot of draft picks, and a lot of money to spend. So you have room for error in season one. And if you really hit the nail on the head, then you hit the ground running. So, I was really excited about it. Like I said, I haven't seen Ryan Poles smiling like this since he got hired. Like, you could tell he was really excited about this hire. And I think that the fact that they are that I heard Ben say, it's their show. He's like, I'll have input, but it's their show. It lets you know that they, at least on the surface, there won't be a power struggle that everybody tried to make it seem like there would be. So I know I'm done being cautiously optimistic with this team. I think right now I am excited though. So I think it was a good hire. We've seen everything he did in Detroit. We know that offensive line isn't coming with him. We just saw the offensive line coach will be staying. But there are a lot of good pieces out there, and we can fix this offensive line. I think they can do some damage. We saw the flashes. We didn't see everything we wanted to see year one, but I think we have a guy in there who now we can really line this up with Caleb, and I think that's important. That's the most important thing. If you're gonna make this switch after year one, you have to have somebody in there that's gonna gonna rock out with Caleb. And I think that Ben, you know, if it clicks the way we think it's gonna click, I can see those two easily, being paired and giving us some things that we've never seen on the lakefront.
Yeah, for me, man, I think shock was the number one too. I just not the shock that they got Ben Johnson, because I always felt when the smoke cleared that it was gonna be Ben. The shock was to me was the money. That rumored from Pro Football Talk, he's making $13 to $14 million a year. And just also the process. We've heard everything we've heard about the process has been well. I know a lot of Bears fans didn't understand why they were interviewing so many people. I've always said on here, I've said for weeks, I didn't care how many people they interviewed. Just get the right person. And and to hear from Ben has been on a crazy press run. Like, this is the third coach since I've been covering the team. I joined the beat in the second half of Nagy's last year. They didn't do this kind of press run with Eberflus 3 years ago. This nigga was on every, of course, outside of the actual press conference, which we'll get to in just a second. He was on every ESPN 1000 show, WGN, Fox Chicago. Nigga was on First Take this morning. Every outlet that you could possibly. This is a full promo thing, and it's about time that the Charter franchise acts like the Charter franchise. But it just felt like, from everything we heard, that he just wanted to be here. Both of them wanted to be here. George said in his availability that the first thing Ben told him was, "I want this job," and he finished the interview with, "I want this job," and it just felt like they're just a destination. I'm gonna give an old nigga reference here for those of you who are young and don't remember the show A Different World. Me and Bang brought this up on 79th Dallas. This kind of reminded me of like when Dwayne was dating Kamiko, whatever shorty name was, and like he wasn't with Whitley at the time, but we knew that eventually they were going to end up together in the last and later on in the season. That's what this kind of was. It was just like, oh, we want Ben and we're going to wait this out. So in the meantime, we're going to interview everybody else, and they hear from sources, not just Ben himself, but other sources, that the process was thorough. That made me feel good. And it's just like, okay. And I'm going to say this to Bears fans. I'm going to say this to people criticizing Bears fans. Let Bears fans be happy. And this is Bears tax out here. One thing I hated, winning the offseason. Offseason ain't over. Who said we won the offseason? You still got to go through the draft. You still got to go through free agency. There's a lot of holes on this team. Just because you got a coach does not mean anything. And let Bears fans be happy about something. We've had, in my opinion, the most disappointing season that I can remember with these expectations. I'm not setting expectations. I don't know, because I don't know what kind of coach Ben Johnson is going to be. It's like we don't 100% know what kind of quarterback Caleb's going to end up being. But those were the number one choices, and you went out there and got them. So whichever way this ends out, you can't blame the Bears. They did their part in getting the top two people here. And I think that Bears fans should be allowed to be happy for like a week. Then we can move on and talk about, okay, what draft pick should they look at? What should they do in free agency? What is coaching staff going to look like and things like that? So, this is something to me that is good. And Alex says in the chat, one thing he got from the Zimmerman pod with Ben's agent, that, he's been around for 20 plus years, done business with them, and said he's never seen them ever been this competent. And he says this is a new Bears. And we're going to get to Bunk suit in just 1 second, but I want to talk about the press conference. Press conference was Wednesday morning. I was there. They had it in the basement of the PNC Center, which I've never been in this room. This is basically where they shoot the interviews that you see with players and Jeff Joniak, where they do the podcast and thing like that. I've never been down there, but there's a nice little press room down there. A lot of media there, a lot of local, a lot of national, and it just felt real professional when I got there. Have everybody there, and it was like a million McCaskies. They had like the first two rows of reserve, Ben and his family. And one thing that stood out to me was Caleb was there. Caleb was there. DJ Moore was there. Romadunze was there. Cole Kmet was there. And the thing about all these people were in different parts of the country. Cole was in Atlanta watching Notre Dame get their ass beat on Monday. DJ was in Orlando with his family for a vacation, which he trolled everybody with that Sonic thing, and I was the only one like, y'all ain't seen his Instagram story? This nigga's watching the movie Sonic. And then Romadunze looked like he just woke up 2 minutes ago. And Caleb has been in LA for like weeks at this point since the offseason started. And so that was just good to see them there. And it just felt different. Winning the press conference doesn't matter because that doesn't mean anything when the game starts. But compared to other press conferences, it felt like he had a plan. We didn't get any corny quotes that we got from Eberflus. Put your working shoes on, and we're going to do the hits principle and stupid stuff like that. It felt like he was confident, knew what he wanted to do, and just everything just felt like professional, like a charter franchise to move. After that, we had media availability with Caleb, with Kevin Warren, with George, with Ryan, and I really felt like George and Kevin were really like, yeah, nigga, leave me alone. Like, George went up there and was counting out media members. He's like, yo, where's Brad Biggs at? Where's Mark Potash at? Like, I read what y'all niggas said, and we spent the money. Kevin Warren was using even more big words, talking with his hands more, and they just felt real confident about, oh, we got our guy, and this is how we're going to do it. And it was good to hear from Caleb, too. I'm glad they made him available. But everything just sounded real professional for the first time. It felt like, okay, you got a guy who at least knows what he wants to do. I love the eye contact he had with Caleb and the guys saying, like, look, Caleb, you're very impressive. You're very talented. But we're not going to win here with just off you. We're going to bring – it's going to take everybody. And the number one thing I like before we go to Mikey and Dante was he's not coming here with a Detroit playbook. He's like, we're going to take – the offense and build it around Caleb and have everybody be built around it, which is good. It's not like he's coming in here just playing the same thing. We've had coaches when they're real stubborn and they stick to the way they play things. The Matt Nagy thing, a lot of fans saw he was coming over here bringing Andy Reid's offense. So it really feels like finally he's got a path and a plan on how to make this work. And that's the number one thing I took from it. Everything is professional, and it didn't seem usual Bears to me. Mikey, what did you think about the press conference? What stood out to you from what you heard from Ben Johnson?
I was trying to stay away from the win the press conference narrative and stay away from getting caught in that. But I'll be honest, he had me ready to run through a wall. First off, like the number one thing I noticed is his eye contact, looking at everybody, that was there, speaking clearly, no cliches. Nothing rewritten, nothing written down already, pre-written. Like there wasn't any notes. Everything was off the dome. You can tell that he was well prepared for this moment. You can tell that, that he can be that, quote unquote leader of men. He can command a room because I feel from everything that we've saw between fans and just us talking and even the media, everybody was thoroughly impressed with him and the way he was able to, handle that press conference. I really loved when he told, when he looked at the guys specifically, Caleb, Rome, DJ, and Cole, and he told them, get comfortable being uncomfortable because I think that's something that this locker room needed. I think after a year that they had, you learned a lot of bad habits, a lot of bad traits, and it's very, very imperative that you go ahead and you nip that shit in the bud ASAP. I think he was very forthcoming and saying, yeah, like this, obviously this does revolve around Caleb, but it is going to take more. So I was thoroughly impressed with him. I've been impressed with some of the things that I've been hearing from him. I haven't seen every single appearance that he's done. I felt like Buddy was on everything. That I was like, all right, I gotta like take a Ben Johnson break for a little. But I am gonna tap in over the weekend and hear what he was saying. The number one thing that was really stuck out for me outside of, how he comported himself was just when he started talking football and getting down to the basics of the offense. There's a lot of people that say that bullshit. Oh, he's not bringing that Detroit Lions, offensive line. He's not bringing Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown. We know that. And don't you think he knows that? Like, don't you think if this guy is everything that they say he is and he thinks he is, he's going to be just fine going ahead and creating a playbook tailor-made for the guys that he has. The other thing is that he did mention, Ryan Poles mentioned on ESPN 1000 that Ben Johnson will have input with him as far as, roster decisions and, scouting and stuff along those lines. So that's all very big. The offense, how it's going to look in year one is not how it's going to look in year two and not how it's going to look in year three. This is going to be a gradual, evolution. But I think that he has all the ingredients that he needs. And I think they're going to pour into the offensive line. I think they're going to go ahead and add some speed to this team. But he seems like a guy that knows what he's doing. And the biggest thing for this franchise and for where this team wants to go in the future is offense. You have to improve your offensive output, especially when you have, somebody such as Caleb Williams with that talent. So going ahead and getting a guy that's offensive minded, that it's running his scheme, his play calling, it's going to be imperative, that Caleb and him hit the ground running because look, I just saw a tweet right now. Now that Liam Coen has gone from Tampa Bay to Jacksonville, Baker Mayfield will now have his 8th offensive coordinator in his 8th season. This is not what we want, anymore in Chicago. We've seen that for so long, So when you have somebody like Caleb Williams, you got to maximize him, and I think there's no better way than to do it with Ben Johnson. So everything I saw from the presser and his little promo run has been amazing. He genuinely wants to be in Chicago, and I appreciate those 4 guys showing up. I know you tweeted it the other day, but for all the shit that DJ Moore took throughout the season, with the body language warriors, and he just didn't have a good year, whether it was his own doing, whether it was Shane Waldron's, whether it was him and Caleb not having enough time and reps together. It just wasn't a good year for DJ Moore. But for him to go ahead and cut out from his family trip, being in Disney, to come and be there for, that 11 a.m. press conference, that spoke volumes. And, I think, that whole offensive skill position player room, that they got to be geeked, to have this guy there. They've seen what he's done with the Lions for the last 3 years. So that they're excited to get to work.
And before we go to Dante, one thing that also stood out to me was he shouted out the defense, specific players. Shout out Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson, Tremaine Edmonds, and I think it was Montez Sweat and TJ Edwards. Saying that he was defense too. Yeah,
and he was really big on when he spoke with Carmen and Yurko this week. It was like an hour after the initial press conference. He actually mentioned he was like Andrew Billings. He was like, honestly, from my perspective, he was like, from my perspective, Billings is really tough. And, when he went down that run game, it got leaky, and you can see that on film. So, he like he said, and how we're seeing, he's done his fucking homework.
Definitely. Dante, what's your take on the press conference and how it went down?
It's one of those situations where it was teetering toward feeling too good to be true, and I felt that the last couple of times, so I kind of cut it off, walked away, came back, watched the rest of it. But overall, I really enjoyed it, especially the part where he spoke about, this is not going to be the offense you saw in Detroit. I appreciate that, and that shows me, that kind of peeks into his genius as an offensive mind, the fact that he, is smart enough, and this is something that all good coaches do, and we know this. You build your scheme based on the talent you have, and, don't try to stuff your talent into the scheme you already created. So I think that's going to be really dope. I think it's going to be interesting to see what players he utilizes and who he doesn't. I'm right now early, obviously he's one of those people who could get cut, but if they don't add another receiver, I'm interested to see how he uses Tyler Scott. I think it's going to be very interesting the way he uses DJ, because even though DJ didn't have the year we wanted him to have, he shows some new wrinkles in his game with the way they used him, kind of like Debo. And so, with the creativity that Ben Johnson has, I'm interested to see what he does with that. But overall, I really enjoyed the press conference. I think, like I said, Ryan, it looks like the energy that we wanted to be ending this season with is something that we're going to be pushing into next season. And so, it's one of those situations where I know we're going to get into Ryan Poles, but I think Poles and Warren, everybody in that building, they had a little pep in their step. You said George was talking spicy, looking for certain people. I think it's a situation where it's like they do finally understand that, in order for us to really change what's going on around here, we have to change the way we do business. We tried it last season where we tried to run it back and we say, okay, the new quarterback is going to fix it. That didn't work. And so now, I think we were really hard on Ryan Poles because last season didn't work. But when you hear all the things behind the scenes about how he wanted to fire Eberflus, early on, so that let me know that I feel like George and Kevin Warren came back and probably said, you know what, we got to give him a shot. It's not the same situation where you had a GM who was fucking up and it's like, all right, what we gonna do? So I think with Ryan, we still need to fix the offensive line. But again, this is a situation where you come into this offseason and you have a lot of runway. You got 10 picks, you got $80 million. So, you got a lot of runway. And from what I heard from Ben, from his entire press run, it was like this is a guy who was ready to be a head coach. Like he's really, really ready to, lock in and take on this challenge. And Scott, we talked about it throughout the week that, you were like, yo, if he don't take this challenge, that say something about him. Well, I mean, we got our answer.
Yep.
Bro, he came to the division where he knows it's tough. He knows these teams are going to compete. You got potentially 4 really good teams in this division. And so, the Bears have, traditionally been the team to fall short in that order. But I think, with what we got going on and the energy he's bringing, I loved what I heard. And like I said, I didn't want to get into that too good to be true mode because that's how I felt like I was going. So I stepped back a little bit. But no, I'm still excited about what I saw. And I think it was really good and needed.
I think he was very kind of candid and open too when people asked him about what he saw from the outside looking in as far as the failures of the team this year. And I think without throwing any of the prior coaching staff under the bus, I think everything he brought up was very succinct. Like he said, listen, like Caleb had an up and down year, which many rookies do, like putting everything into perspective, not everything being so off the wall. He's like, hey, the defense wasn't as good as we thought. It was a little leaky in the run game, and that makes you more susceptible in the pass. It puts your linebackers in terrible positions. And, like, it's just everything that he was saying. Like, to me, it seems like a motherfucker who's been, after Lions games, has been tuning into the Bears and seeing what's going on and taking notes. Like, it didn't seem like he just came up with this, This seems like somebody who's had his eye on his job. And I think even when he made the comment of, I thought the Bears were a sleeping giant, I believe that goes down to, it does kind of give us, a little bit more at ease for us fans who thought we were going to have a good year last year, because somebody else did see that as well. I think it just goes down to it being a total clusterfuck of, the whole entire process of keeping Eberflus, of of hiring Shane Waldron. The one question that they did ask him this week was if the Bears job would have been available last offseason, would you have taken it? And who knows if he's lying, but I thought his answer was pretty solid. And he said, no, I wouldn't have taken it because mentally I wasn't prepared. Like, I wasn't in an emotional state to go ahead and take that jump last year. I still had unfinished business in Detroit. I still needed to learn many more things as far as how to command a room, how to game plan and make structure for not only the offense, but everything else. And it seemed like this year, he gave everything he could to the Detroit Lions. And there's a lot of salty fucking Lions fans out there, but it's football. The shit happens. You could wake up and, look at Lamar Jackson. Never had 2 turnovers all season, 2 turnovers in the playoffs, Yeah. So it just happens. And I think he was ready to take this leap. And I think he truly wants to be in Chicago. He's excited to be in Chicago. And I think he's going to really revitalize this, this franchise and really get people back, geeked and excited for Caleb Williams' prospect.
And one thing too, before we go to the next topic too, that's still when you talking about he wanted to be here, he kept mentioning the city. He was like, "Yo, like I'm traveling here. I'm coming here every summer for Cubs games." They caught Water on Sylvia on the hot mic. It was like, this motherfucker really be going. And I love.
He said, "Why the fuck are you going to Cubs games?"
I love. Man, shout out to Sylvia. Sylvia, I was in the same row. Me, Sylvia, Adam Johns, we're all in the same row watching the press conference. I love how Sylvia owned up to it in the retweet. He was like, "Oh, see, I knew he was telling the truth about coming to Wrigley." But they dropped the pictures of him being in Wrigley and saying, "This is what city that I want to raise my kids at." So I feel like it's something where it was just perfect time, man. By the way, I do call bullshit on he would have took it last year. I think he didn't want to take the dagger any farther into Lions fans' hearts. But,
that's how I felt. That's how I felt.
I call bullshit. What Chris Tucker say? Oh, this fake. That's how I felt.
Yeah, it's fake.
Yeah,
it's fake.
he got caught up in the Dan Campbell. Let's run it back, guys.
Right.
Like Dan got him with his feet.
Yeah, exactly. But let's go to the next topic. I'm talking about my boy Bunk Suit, Mr. Kevin Warren himself, man. We've been saying on this show since he got hired a year and a half ago, and before he became official a year ago, when Ted Phillips officially stepped down, what does this nigga do? We've never known because he doesn't give us much. I call him TED Talk Kevo because every time you talk to him, he speaks in TED Talk. He talks like a businessman. He talks like a CEO. Super nice guy. He goes out of his way to greet the media, especially black media. Definitely appreciate it. But I didn't know what is this place? And we have seen everything in just little changes with how it's been since he's gotten there. I've said this many times that since I've been covering the team, over the last year, I've seen a shift in staff. There wasn't that many black people there. Now I had to say staff has to be at least 50%, and it might actually be more. It might be 60-40 black people, and I think they have fully locked that down. They've been more professional, sending the PJ, not just for Ben Johnson. They sent the PJ for Mike McCarthy just to interview him and stuff like that. That should just be common sense, a commonplace for a billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar franchise. These are big things for the Bears. And we've seen that he's, from what I get now, his position is he's the mediator between, not the mediator, but I guess the mouthpiece, the middleman between George McCaskey and Ryan Poles. Ryan Poles does his job and says, yo, Kevin, I need this. This is how much it's going to cost. And then Kevin goes to George. This is how much it's going to cost. And George listens to Kevin. And this is the first example of that where it actually went down. And Kevin Warren said in his press conference, it wasn't anything that had to battle George down. I told him how much it costs to get Ben. George said, do it. And we're going to get to George McCaskey in just a minute. But I feel real confident now about that there will be shovels in the ground this year for the new stadium, whether it is in the Memorial Campus area where Soldier Field is at, or whether it's in Arlington Heights. I do finally believe that it's going to get done, and it's going to be a state-of-the-art type stadium. And I feel very confident that going forward in free agency, that if you might need to overpay for some of these people, but if they're at prime time positions, that they're going to get it done. And so I really feel more confident about Kevin Warren's place in the front office after this coaching search and just really their, I guess, like the order of the front office, the pecking order of front office. We didn't know. It sounded like Ryan Poles had his soul taken after Eberflus got fired and after the press conference after the season was over. But now it feels like this actual alignment and people have their roles and they know how to do their roles. Mikey, what did you think about what Kevin Warren said in this press conference? And do you feel any more confident about his place and what he actually does in the franchise?
Yeah, I had text y'all, kind of once they locked him in, locked Ben Johnson in, I said, pause. I said, Kev is swinging dick up in Hallis Hall, because to get George McCaskey to go ahead and sign off on paying a first-time head coach, anywhere between $13 to $15 million a year for a duration of 5 years, do the math. That's never, ever been done. To get George McCaskey to say, hold on, we're going to switch up some of this food in the press box. And, Scott, I know you've mentioned it before that you were like, wait, hold on. Like the first year he was there, they kind of made just those little changes.
Yeah, niggas used to get them little wings from Jules. Not to have a problem with wings from Jules. Them joints is hard with some Hawaiian bread. But I don't want to see that in the game. They step it up from there.
Even just the the report that Courtney Cronin had, we've known for a while that they've done kind of the sending candidates, just regular charter, regular flights. And now that they were going to go ahead and send that private jet, it's all about how you do business. And I think that's where Kevin Warren falls in. This is somebody that has experience in doing that. This is somebody that has negotiated one of the largest mergers, in the Big Ten, and switching and getting teams to join the Big Ten and getting all of the TV deals and all of that stuff. So This is somebody that knows what he's doing when it comes to doing things at a super high level, and the Bears are not used to it. I think this week he also kind of like all three of them. Ben Johnson, obviously, it's our first time really, hearing from him. Everybody came off personable, and they felt like as far as Ryan and Kevin, it felt like a weight was lifted off their shoulders when they spoke. Ryan was, cracking a little bit more jokes, like everything's good once you get that bad bitch, like once you hit, it's tough sledding when you fighting in those DMs and you trying to get her. But once you hit, it's like, I'm good. And that's how you can see how Kevin and Ryan were talking. And I think Kevin really kind of opened up a little bit more this week on Waddle and Sylvie when he spoke on Wednesday in regards to the stadiums. And he kind of basically said, like, they asked him, like, Sylvie had asked him, like, let's be real, like, why not just do it in Arlington? George Halas has always wanted it in Arlington Heights. He always envisioned that. It's something that they've been talking about since the 70s and for a long time. And he's like, we own the land. And he's like, he kind of said, he's like, dude, we had like tax issues that we had to navigate. Like, there was shit that we had to handle in Arlington Heights before we could even move forward. And that we seen was just resolved in November. So, like, I think we're getting closer to them announcing, yes, Browns will be in the shovel. Hey, Nikhil, put that comment up. The Red Sox, hey, bro.
The Red Sox
it's been a minute since I've gotten my hair braided. I haven't gotten a taper. I'm woofing right now. Send me some of that MSG money, my G. But what is it? You got the Cash App. What is it? But
hit the Cash App.
So like, I think now, like, we will see, shovels being in the ground. I think it eventually will be in Arlington Heights, just because that is where they, where they own the land. I think, the city is going through a lot right now. There's a fiscal cliff for many, for the CTA coming up. You got people going to Springfield asking for funding for CPS, everything. I just don't see that funding becoming available for, $1 billion organization. Arlington Heights is going to happen. But as far as Kevin Warren, you have to give him, you have to give him his respect. I know a lot of people don't like him. He is very, he does give off the vibes of a politician when he speaks. But listen, those are the games that you play. So I give, kudos to him, because this deal does not happen unless he goes into George McCaskey's ear and says, hey, this is the guy we want. Ryan has vetted it. We've all sat down and interviewed with him. You've seen he's been impressive. This is what it's going to command. We have, we had the number 1 overall pick last year. We have this, quote unquote generational talent. We know that we have a guy at quarterback. We're embarking on getting, whether it's some funding, help from the state, or going ahead and investing in the property that we purchased in Arlington Heights. We're getting ready to put the shovel in the ground and build a stadium. We need to start acting like it's 2025 and a big time organization that we are, and being able to get George to switch up, that's huge, because for all of us here, for me, you, Dante, Sean, Alex, we've never seen that from this organization.
Definitely, man. Dante, what's your feelings on TED Talk Kevo? Has he gotten you any more confident in what he's doing?
We might have to change his name, bro. Like he's once we get the shovels in the ground, then we can officially say, okay, Kevin, you've come here and done, pretty much everything you have been asked to do. Obviously, the football side of it is more Ryan Poles, but in terms of Kevin Warren, I think he's really delivering in the fact that we all wanted Kevin Warren to come in and take, pretty much all of the responsibility away from George. I understand Ted was the figurehead, but we all know, we've said this for years. This team goes how George wants it to go. You feel me? Like, we've all known that and accepted that. And so when Kevin Warren came in and they actually hired a football guy, and he said, I'm a fan, I'm not a football guy. When he said that lets you know that Kevin Warren was the football guy. So we expected Kevin Warren to handle football business. And we were disappointed with the Eberflus thing, but right now we've seen him get them to turn the tide in a time when they typically wouldn't do it. This was the same old Bears. Eberflus would have coached out the season, and then we'd have been sitting here waiting for them to make a decision. whereas it seemed like this is something that they knew from jump who they wanted. Like you said, they wanted him last offseason. They had the back channel conversations. Poles this guy, Albright, right? That's his boy, ain't it?
Albert Breer.
Albert Breer, yeah. Breer, had made the comments about
Albright.
Yeah, it was one of them, his boy in the media had made the comments about Ben, being interested, and then now for Kevin to get McCaskey to cut the check, like me and Scott both said it in the chat. We was like, oh shit, I did not expect them to spin the bread. Like that was one thing that was definitely going to lead me to thinking they were falling back into the same old Bears. But yeah, as Scott has said, I'll finally fall back because I think it's officially Kevin Warren's show. I think, this season was one of those moments where we saw George was still trying to hold on to the reins. And, we're going to give Flus a shot. He's talking the same old school Chicago BS. But finally, Kevin Warren got through to him and said, nah, bro, it's time to change this shit. Like, once again, if we're going to be a modern franchise, we have to do modern things. And so it was a situation where he finally got him to make that move. And so more so than Ryan Poles, because Ryan Poles still has fucked up a little bit. With Kevin Warren, I'm like, okay, bro, let me see what you do with this stadium. And then you officially, he won't hear nothing negative from me.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that one, man. And, I'm still keeping everybody's feet to the fire for sure. But very good start to the regular season, not regular season, but the off season. I also want to let's go into Mr. Ryan Poles, because I do feel like with Poles, man, job's not finished. In the words of Kobe Bryant, job's not finished. Poles is an interesting case because I feel like, yes, he's made some mistakes, some major blunders, but he's also made a lot of W's. I think it's been very much a mixed bag, and I think just with all the frustration Bears fans have, somebody's head has got to be on the pipe. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to go. And I think that a lot of people, we took that anger out on Ryan Poles. And now we got to get into things are really on the line for him. You got your head coach who he might outlive you here. And now the number one thing I'm glad I heard from Ben Johnson in his interview with Carmen and Yurko on ESPN 1000 is that he will have a say in roster decisions, because sometimes I feel like you're going to need somebody to save Ryan Poles from himself. He's a former offensive lineman who don't know how to draft out offensive linemen. I give him Darnell Wright. I think Darnell Wright had an up and down sophomore season, but I'm going to cut him some slack because who was on his line? Like, to be honest, the Bears had the most offensive lineups through the entire season. I think it was like 28 different lineups they had, and it was very hard for him. I think with a better group, he's going to be better, and I think he's going to be a very good right tackle in his career. But everybody else has been bad, with the Ryan Bates trade, having Coleman Shelton be there all year, thinking Braxton Jones is a full-time starter, and just other questionable things. Like, there's been some trades he's missed out on. He missed out on the Chase Claypool deal, failed the Larry Ogunjobi signing. Some people still don't like the Roquan trade. So there's a lot of things that had an issue with that too, but it's because of him that you've got Darnell Wright, you got Caleb Williams, you've got DJ Moore, you got Tyree Stevenson, and you still have another pick coming up in this upcoming draft. And now it's got to get to what's your faith level. For me, I'm keeping it at a 5. He's got to show me. He's got to show me more. This is the first good step in saying what coach you want, knowing this was the guy, and you went out there and you got your guy. Now, can you learn from your mistakes that you made in your draft? Can you be more aggressive in free agency? Everybody keeps telling me, it's $80 million, $80 million. I don't think it's a good thing for your fourth-year GM to be having, the third most cap in the league. To me, that's not a good thing. That means you've been cheap the previous years. He needs to go out there and spend some money. That's what I'm going to waste. I'm not crowning him here. I'm not giving him a round of applause. I give him a golf clap. Good. You got your coach. Now finish the roster, because it doesn't matter whatever offense Ben Johnson runs if there's not 5 guys out there who are good at protecting Caleb, and if you don't have a line that can go after the quarterback. So I'm still in wait and see mode with Ryan Poles. Mikey, what is your faith level in Ryan Poles, and I guess your confidence heading into this next part of the offseason?
Yeah, I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid and just because he landed Ben Johnson say, oh, he's fine and all is, all has been resolved. There's still a lot of work to do. I think at the end of the day, this is a results-based business, and we are in the business of wanting to see our favorite team win football games. And it is solely on Ryan Poles to go ahead and put the best roster out there. I think we also saw kind of the growing pains that come with having a first-time GM that's, 37 years old, when he started, now he's, he'll be 39 years old. He's 39 now, be 40 eventually, later on this year. But this is somebody that was learning on the go, and he had a little bit of unchecked power. For that first year, he was just reporting straight to George, and he was cool. We saw reports that he really didn't like the dynamic between him and Kevin. Because now he has to have somebody check over his work before he turns it in. But I think we're seeing now that, hey, we might need that bridge there, to make sure that some of these things, get checked off. You draft somebody like Tyler Scott in the third round, he can't see the field. You draft Velus Jones in the third round, he can't see he sees the field. He's terrible. He shouldn't see the field, but you continuously put him out there. Now you have to cut your losses. The Zach Pickens deal has not been a good deal. I still will always question, with your very first draft, you being a former offensive lineman coming to a team where you're letting go of, his very first year, he let James Daniels walk. That was a young guard, been fine with the Steelers since he's been there. And your first two picks are some DBs, so that will always not sit right with me. And I know that he has tried to address the offensive line. Like, I won't say that he hasn't tried. He has tried. He's just failed at it. And I think with Ben Johnson being here, coming in, even somebody like Dennis Allen, who, knock on wood, I hope they do land as the defensive coordinator. Having veterans and experienced personnel that has a different view of how things can be done and a different eye for talent can only benefit Ryan Poles. You draft somebody like Karan Amagaji from Yale, and then you draft him knowing he's hurt, and you kind of give him a red shirt year. Listen, I'm not drafting anybody that is coming in with injury histories unless I know that they're a fucking stud. Case in point, Eddie Jackson. They drafted him with the torn ACL. Ryan Pace did, but they knew he was a stud. Like Karan Amagaji, you played at a small time school. At an Ivy League school. You played at Yale, but it's not SEC football. It's not Big Ten football. So there are still things that he needs to improve on as far as his roster development, and it's going to be very key. I think we're going to see. Him having to be aggressive this year in free agency. If Trey Smith hits free agency, there is no reason that he should not be a Chicago Bear. If he is not a Chicago Bear, I will be upset. As long as he's available.
And not only him being available, but also his relationship with Darnell Wright. They played together on the same line in Tennessee.
And Ryan Poles was employed by the Kansas City Chiefs and was in a position of player development when they went ahead and identified him as a 6th-round pick and drafted him. So that relationship is there. That's what I need to see. I can't have what happened last year. Free agency hit, and the very first tweet was out, is you're spending $8 million a year on a running back. It can't happen. It can't happen for Caleb's sake. It can't happen for this offensive sake, and it can't happen for your sake, because if you keep missing at premium positions, you will be ass out. And I think, it's kind of come out today that he isn't on a lame duck year. He is here until 2026. So he does have a little bit of a runway this year and next year. But, it's going to be very interesting. Unfortunately, they are going to, quote unquote, have to win the offseason because you're going to have to you need to go and get that high price, high ticket guard. I think you might have to go and pay for the best center available, Drew Dahlman, that's coming from Atlanta. Like, if he hits free agency, you got to also go and spend on that too. So it's going to be a big year for him. I'm glad that, they kind of have gotten, the head coach part out of the way. And we probably will have, the rest of the staff hired by, the end of next week, because it's time to start getting to the Senior Bowl. It's time to start getting versus the East-West game. You got the Combine coming up, and this is going to be a very, very difficult draft to navigate because there's not 5 quarterbacks going top 10. Depending who you ask, 1 quarterback shouldn't even go top 10. So it's really going to be best available, stick to your board, and he's got to really find ways to plug the defensive line and the offensive line.
100%, man. And also too, like there's been reports, Phil Yates has said that it looks like Trey Smith is gonna hit free agency. Same thing with a lot of other beat writers, but you know what, that it don't matter till they actually hit. Teams can change their mind at the end of the day, especially wide offensive lineman. Dante, what's your take on your confidence in Ryan Poles right now?
3. It's still at a 3. It's still low. It's still low. Like I said, he got a little runway because of the capital that we have to play around with this season, and the fact that when you start off the way he started off with, year 1 being stripped down the salary cap, year 2 being just a flat out tank, you have to give him a couple years. Like that is one of the things that, despite the fact, we were ready to fire bro this all season, the necessary, you do have to take that into account. And although he does have some misses, the hits that he's had have been enough, in my opinion, to give him some leeway. But I'm still at like a 3 because my whole thing is the trenches are what's key. What really helps elevate your team to that elite level. A team like Philadelphia, who I know they haven't won the Super Bowl since the Nick Foles days, but because they've been so good in the trenches, they've been able to stay around and stick around. I know we put a lot of emphasis on the skill positions and things like that, but the reality is they've had a above average offensive line for about a decade now. And I think that's part of the reason why they've always been able to retool and reload. And no matter the quarterback and what weapons they bring in there, they're still able to find success quickly. So we still have to build that. That's still something that we haven't seen Ryan Poles do. We've seen him a lot of misses on the O-line. The Nate Davis signing is one of the worst. I think that's
That's like all time bad, bro.
Yeah, I would say that and Claypool probably.
No, I was just about to say, I think that's worse than Claypool. Just off the strength that you are a former O-lineman and you looked at this motherfucker and said, let's give him $40 million.
Well, he was warned. He was warned not to.
Yeah,
his people.
He was told several times, like, yeah, bro, you don't really have a fire for the game, but if that's what you want, go ahead. The trade for Sheldon didn't work out. The Ryan Bates, not good. So, you've seen a lot of misses across that offensive line. So for me, I'm going to give him the leeway in the runway this year, but I won't sit here and say that my confidence is sky high that he's going to hit on everything. Like, it would be beautiful. But I think at this point, I can't say that he's going to hit on everything because have we ever had an offseason when Ryan Poles hit on everything? Like, we've had off seasons where in the moment we like, yeah, that was great. But then when the season plays out, we like, okay, he's kind of huff. Like, that's not what we expect. Even with Tremaine Edmonds, like last year, we were all saying, man, $100 million. We got 2 linebackers. Now they both might get cut. Like, they both cut candidates. Like, you feel me? Like, it's one of those situations where it's like, I want to wait and see. So for me, I can't be as confident as I want to be. I can't just flat out and say, all right, bet they got their coach. Now he's going to go out and get the players because I've seen them miss too many times for that.
Yeah, I think I don't know about I know. Well, Tremaine could be a cut candidate. I don't think TJ be here, but
I think TJ might fuck around. You can for me, you can convince me into giving him an extension.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You convinced me TJ get an extension. I think Tremaine could be a cut candidate, but I do think it was interesting that Ben Johnson name dropped him. So I don't know if that'll change anything. But yeah, I think the last 2 free agencies, Bears fans have kind of been like, okay, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like with Ryan Pace, it was like you're spending too much. With Ryan Poles, it's like you're not spending enough. Like, I think that has been the thing right there, man. But let's go on to George McCaskey, the owner and chairman of the board of the Chicago Bears. Bears fans, Bears media have been wanting George to step to the side and let the football guys do the football job. Of course, he has said himself, I'm not a football guy. And it feels like the last 2 years, even though he's been saying that, he's still been meddling even to the point with telling HBO, I don't want swearing on our episodes of Hard Knocks. By the way, I'm gonna go back and rewatch Hard Knocks and see how much shit in there is funny now in retrospect.
All of it.
It's probably all of it. I'm gonna go back and rewatch to see how funny it is now. But it kind of feels like just off this signing now. Still got to see how the rest of the offseason plays out. But from the press conference he had, that he is stepping back and letting Ryan and Kevin do their jobs. And Kevin tells him how much it's going to cost, and George writes the check. And I feel like he might hopefully, and Mike, you brought this up maybe like a week or two ago, he's taking a page out of the Lions owner, Sheila Ford Ham. The Fords have owned this team forever, and she decided to take a step back and say, whatever Brad Holmes and our front office say we should do, I'm gonna just write the check. I feel like that is a step in the right direction. I have more of an idea if this really is the case when free agency is over, and that he doesn't pull a Tom Ricketts and, okay, I'll spend money on a coach, but we're not going to do much else with the roster. So I'm still going to give him the same heat that I'm giving Ryan Poles, as in I'm not 100% confident backing you yet, but you're going in the right direction as far as moving out the way, signing the checks, and shutting up. That's what I feels like he's going to, and I hope that's what he's going to. Mikey, does your confidence, do you think that George has finally got it?
Yeah, I think it's clear that there's been a change in philosophy. And I attribute that, like I said, to Kevin Warren being here in place. Kevin Warren was not around for the last head coach search. He made it a point this week to also kind of mention that, to remind people, like, hey, I wasn't around here for the last time that this shit went down. Like I can't take the blame for some of the way the processes were done before, but I can't tell you how they will be, going forward. So I think his philosophy has changed. I think we've seen it in the amount that they were willing to go to with Ben Johnson as far as his contract. I think the philosophy has changed in the fact that they swung for the big fish. They didn't do a retread. They didn't go with somebody that was, a hard ass, that somebody was going to come in and just focus on the culture. No, they thought this out, and I think they really got it to them that, hey, where we are going and where we want to go and where we need to go in modern day football is we need to be offensively driven, and we need to build around, this young rookie quarterback. And I think that got through his head. He was even talking spicy. And I wondered, like, why the fuck did he bring up Joe Buck? Does he still think Joe Buck and Tom Brady, like, does he think Joe Buck and Tom Brady do games together? Like, it was just an unnecessary ass stray.
I think he just don't like Joe Buck for whatever reason. I don't know what the reason is, but he did, like, his whole energy in that press conference was like Ryan Day said, I wonder what Lou Holtz is at right now. Like, that's what George's energy was in that press conference. But it wouldn't surprise me if George thought that him and Tom Brady call games.
Or even like just switching to the PNC room, right? Like, and doing it in the format in which Ryan Poles got to the podium and spoke. He slides off. Ben Johnson is at the podium and spoke. And then when we speak, Kevin and George, we do that off to the side, like not putting the attention on them. It's not that full long table and everybody's there. It's like they're giving each man their respective time and due attention. So I think it's changed. Like, don't Craig, like you said, I thought there was a great point, Scott. Don't Craig Counsell this how the Cubs did last year. They spent their money on Craig Counsell, and then that was it. And they just brought back Cody Bellinger. Don't do that. Go ahead and add more. If this draft, if you find yourself in this draft in a position where you trade back to acquire more picks, do it. If you feel you got to trade up, do it. Either way, you need to lock in on how are we going to get this team in the best spot to be competing, because next year, and Ben Johnson said it himself, this team 100% should be in the playoffs next year, should be vying for that. And that is the mentality that George needs to have and needs to operate with when it comes time to signing the checks, to give an approval, because that is the only thing that matters. You are in the football business. This isn't just Bears business and then football. No, you're only in business because of football. Make sure that the football team is A1 and make sure that the product on the field is A1.
And Mike, you brought up one thing that I forgot to bring up that I want to bring up too. I love how he didn't shy away from playoff expectations this year. Like I said, I'm not putting expectations on this team. I'm not doing the win total game in the offseason. I'm just not. But I like how he said, like, yeah, if we work hard and we do what we're supposed to do, yeah, we can be in the playoffs. So I like that he didn't shy away from, this is a long-term thing. Like, no, this roster is set for you to be able to do that if you play hard. So I'm glad that he actually brought that up. Dante, what do you think about George? Do you think George has, learned his lesson or starting to learn his lesson?
Man, George better sit his ass down and shut up. We are nowhere near victory lap season. Like, George, you finally spent some money. We happy for you. You finally let the people, like you said, the football people make the football moves. But no. It's way too soon, even sooner than what we was talking about with Ryan, to say George has learned his lesson. Because, we don't know what he's going to say about some of these personnel moves. We don't know if he's fully, removed himself from everything, because we thought coming in this season that was the case, and we found out that wasn't the case. We found out that real quick, especially with Hard Knocks. But I think I can't say that about him. And I think for George, he is one person who, I think he takes a lot of the blame, because obviously as chairman, he should, but we don't know how much of this is, the other McCaskies in his ear, the other McCaskies telling him, hey, do this. Hey, we still have the Bear way, play defense, run the football. Like, we don't know what's being said behind closed doors in that aspect. So I'll shoot him some bail on that. But overall, nah, bro. You have too many L's on your record for me to sit here and be like, all right, George got it. He's figured it out. I think it's way too soon for that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I hope he's getting it. I think that'll definitely be key. And you're right. It's a lot of McCaskies, my nigga. Like, I think it was like, I think Mike, you said the gift of the Kane gift, where at the end of
the Council of Canes.
Yeah, the Council of Canes gift. That's like how many McCaskies there are. Like, it's like 80 of them, bro. Like, when you get the beginning of the year manual, you see all of them on there, and the press conference, it was like 10 of them there. So you're right, Dante. I don't know what the family dynamic is like. I saw a tweet that said they're like, the family dynamic for the McCaskies is like Succession, but everybody's Greg. Like, that's you really don't know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that definitely makes sense, man. But final topic here on the local hour before we get in the hour two. I know, Mike, you got to bounce in a minute. I want to talk about Ben Johnson's staff. That's the next thing, is filling out the staff. Ben has said that he has gotten a lot of good information, people hitting him up saying they want to be on the staff. So I'm just going to give you some updates on what's going on. There's a lot of rumors about Ben Johnson bringing the offensive line coach in Detroit, Hank Fraley, to come over and be the offensive coordinator. He had been interviewed by Seattle, and he was trying to get play calling duties, but that is not going to be happening. His own wife confirmed, said, year 8 Detroit, y'all really thought we was going to go to Chicago, whatever. But he's going to be staying there. We got a couple news there. So they were trying to get Darren Rizzi to be their special teams coach. He's out there in New Orleans. He's a candidate to be I think even be their head coach. But he's not going to be the special teams coach. They're keeping current head special teams coach, Richard Hightower. He's the only member from the 2024 staff that still has a job. Everybody else got to let go. Thomas Brown is looking to probably have a job in some capacity with the New England Patriots. So much luck to Thomas Brown over there. But as far as other things, Brad Biggs reports that Ben Johnson is going to be looking at Broncos tight end coach Declan Doyle to be added to the staff in some type of capacity. Chicago will likely have to give him the offensive coordinator title to get him out of Denver. Kevin Fishbane says that connecting the dots with Ben Johnson's future Bears staff. Here's the offensive coordinator name to look about. Jeff Nixon, who was the Dolphins running back coach when Johnson was in Miami, spent 2024 as Syracuse offensive coordinator, where Syracuse had the number 1 passing offense in the country. Now, as far as defensive coordinator, now a lot of big reports. Adam Schefter said, like, maybe 5 minutes after Ben Johnson got the deal, that Dennis Allen is expected to be the next defensive coordinator. But then there's been a couple people that are going to interview. The Bears requested to interview the Vikings passing game coordinator slash DB's coach, Dante Jones, for their defensive coordinator position. He's worked with Brian Flores, Vance Joseph, and Marvin Lewis, among others. And they've also requested Rams assistant head coach and passing game coordinator Aubrey Pleasant to interview for the DC job. He was a reason that Chris Shula's defense impressed so much late in the season. This from Ian Rapport. Now, a lot of fans were like, passing game coordinator, why are you bringing an offensive guy in? No, they have defensive passing game coordinators too. I hope this is not the case, that those are 2 Rooney Rule interviews, because I just don't like how the Rooney Rule is right now, but that might be it. And that's just clearing the way for Dennis Allen. I don't really have, besides Dennis Allen, I want Dennis Allen to be the defensive coordinator. I don't have any opinion on other positions. I think Richard Hightower is a good keep. Special teams was not a problem for this team this year. I think he's one of the few coaches. In fact, he's probably the only coach last year who didn't sound like a complete dumbass when he came to the podium, outside of Thomas Brown. He always came up there with knowing what he was talking about and actually felt like a coach. So I have no problem with him being retained. As far as offensive coordinator, I don't know any of these guys. I don't pay that much attention to assistants. I'm just gonna keep it real. And I don't think it matters. Not to say it doesn't matter, but Ben Johnson's gonna be calling the plays. I don't think it's as dire as defensive coordinator. So that's just really my opinion on that. Mikey, what's your takes on the interview process, Dennis Allen, and who you would like to see on the staff?
Yeah, for sure. I would love to see somebody like Dennis Allen on the staff, just because, like you said, this is somebody that's been a coordinator. He's also been a head coach in 2 different stops. And, he has the potential to, you get 2 chances and you fail at them, you really don't get a 3rd chance to be a head coach. So this is somebody that could bring stability. He can be somebody that can man this defense for years to come and kind of make it a little bit easier for Ben Johnson in other aspects. I'm kind of with you as far as the OC hire. I'm not really too gung-ho about it either way, because I know at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Ben Johnson calling the plays. Now, the OC hire will be somebody that does install the actual, game plan for the week. So as long as it's somebody that Ben Johnson has familiarity with, I'm 100% cool with that. But really, I'm only focused on that DC hire. I think Dennis Allen is a lock. I think they're just really going through some of the league protocols and guidelines, getting the Rooney Rule, interviews out the way. We don't know when exactly Dennis Allen's contract, is officially terminated with the Saints. Is that after the league year? Is that something that's going to happen during the Pro Bowl break? So, I think by next week we'll really have a really good grasp of who's on this staff, and we go from there.
Dante, what's your take on the coaching search? What names you like you heard, and do you have any opinion on who you think should be on there?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. Outside of Dennis Allen, I really don't care. Because it is my thing. Ben Johnson's calling the plays, 1. 2, a lot of the names that are available, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know their entire background, but it's just a matter of him getting the right people in the building that he can build with. If Ben Johnson is comfortable with those people, then I'm perfectly fine with the hires. I know that's tough for us to hear as Bear fans when you saw Eberflus have 37 coaches get fired. But, I mean, it's one of those situations where the names really don't matter for me right now. It's really about what they're trying to build and the players they're going to bring in to build it. And the offensive minds, defense. Eric Washington, he left, right?
Yeah, he's gone, and DB coach John Hope has been relieved as well.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see Mo Salah come in. I think that Robert. I'm sorry, I said Mo. That's a soccer bro. But nah, I think that would have been a solid pickup. But other than that, name wise, I don't have anybody that I'm like, yeah, I need him as one of my coordinators. I'm not one of those people that really, tries to tap into that too much, because it's for me, it was really about getting the head coach and the person who's going to set the tone in the building. And they did that. So like I said, I'm with y'all outside of Dennis Allen, because I do think We need an aggressive defense. I'm tired of the old school cover two. Let's sit back and get turnovers. When the reality is, every year we would look back at the end of the season and say, okay, they just feasted on some bad teams. Like they got their turnovers against the shitty teams. And then when we play good teams, we would play teams close. Sometimes we would win, but it was a situation where it wasn't the same. So we need an aggressive defense. I think with the DBs that we have, if we can get some people on that line, it can be a fun situation out there. So that's something that I want to see. But name wise, I don't have any names, any specific names that I want to see.
Yeah, and if it is Dennis Allen, he doesn't blitz that much, but he generates pressure from the defensive line. So that'll be somebody else that's coming in, that's going to put pressure on Ryan Poles, to hey, we need to address this defensive line, and I can 100% see somebody like Chase Young being signed to a 1-year deal and coming over, with Dennis Allen to the Bears. I can see, more and more as I start and look at this draft and I kind of dive deep into the draft. For me, if Will Campbell's not there at pick 10, I'm going defensive lineman. I think this class is way deeper at defensive tackle and defensive end than it is O-lineman. I think there's still some quality offensive linemen that can be had in the second round. So, we might be looking at, a defensive player going, with that first round pick. And if it's somebody like Dennis Allen, I would 100%, put money on it that it's going to be, either an edge rusher or a 3-tech.
I know there's no actual way to get who's my man from Penn State? His name is
Abdul Carter.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Yeah. He might go first, but
he's a beast. Yeah. He's a beast.
He's just, and I felt like he was under the radar until the playoffs started. Like not under the radar, but I don't think nobody's talking first pick into the playoffs.
No, they had him going first round. I mean, we'll get into it. Like, I'm not as high on Shedeur and Cam as y'all are, or a lot of people are.
I think they're high for this draft. I don't think they're league-wise. I don't think Shedeur's gonna be like franchise changer. Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't see it with Shedeur or Cam really that, like, I would stick my neck out there. Like, if I'm the Titans, I would probably look at a Travis Hunter or an Abdul Carter, especially with that. Listen, we saw that defensive line up close and personal with Jeffrey Simmons and the big boy that got from Texas. I forgot his name, but they got some studs down there. And if you could go ahead and ask somebody like Abdul Carter, like, you can definitely win some games and keep games close in that terrible fucking division. So, this is going to be a class that really it is going to come down to best player available, for the Bears. And it's just going to come down to, are there more defensive linemen that rank higher than offensive linemen? And will, somebody like Will Campbell be there, before they reach on, on my man from Oregon, Connerly, or, stuff of that nature. So we got a long way to go. But if I were Bears fans, T'Vondre Sweat, monster. He's a fucking man-child. If I were the Bears fans, I would start looking at these mocks and looking defense instead of O-line personally, because I think you can get left guard, center, and right guard all through free agency.
Yeah, man, I think that's something, we're gonna do a lot of breakdowns here on the show, as far as like picking, who should be in the draft. We're gonna do a lot of that on 79 Dallas. We're gonna do a lot of that on here too, man. That's all for the local hour, Mike. Even though you got to get up out of here, man. Anything you want to say for you begin your weekend?
Shit, man. Y'all just be safe. It's gonna be 37 degrees tomorrow, so bust out the G-Unit tank tops, and I'll see y'all outside.
Yes, sir, man. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break. Then we'll be back. Mariano is going to join us in the second half of the show. He's running a little late. He has something to do, but he will be joining us sometime in the second hour. So we're going to take a quick break. And on the other side, we've got a big announcement, man, involving the Super Bowl that we're going to talk about here in just a second. We'll be right back in a minute.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on display, haters old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not.
And we are back here on I'm Not Gonna Hold You, man. Scott and Dante here. The homie Mariano will be joining us in just a minute, man. He's running a little late, but he will be on here. We're gonna be talking about Detroit fans going outside in just a minute. We're gonna talk about some other coaching moves that have nothing to do with the Bears. Liam Coen going to Jacksonville. We'll talk about that funny ass story. Another one of Detroit's coordinators will be he's going to be head coach. Aaron Glenn will be head coach with the New York Jets, and of course Pete Carroll, new head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. We're also going to get into NFC Championship preview, AFC Championship preview. But it is time for my announcement, man. I got this news a couple weeks ago, but I was waiting for final confirmation. I'm going to be a Super Bowl week. I will be officially covering Super Bowl week down in New Orleans. Won't be doing the game. Weekend prices for the hotels are just ridiculous. NFL don't like to let you know you've been approved to like last minute. But I will be there Monday through Thursday doing opening night, which of course is a big media scrum for both teams. They're going to be there, going to be getting a lot of dope interviews, going to be doing practices, all the other different media events that I'll be holding it down from Monday through Thursday on behalf of I'm Not Gonna Hold You and the Barbers Chat Network. So it's going to be a fun time. Going to be getting a lot of content out there. Not going to be on Radio Row. I know somebody asked in the chat. We didn't get approved for Radio Row. Thought I was hoping we get approved for that. We didn't get approved for that. We know it's a lot of media with the Super Bowl, man. It's not just local media, not just NFL media. It's every media on earth, and they got to fit it all in one convention center. So I'm not going to be a Radio Row, but I will be opening night, all the other different press conferences and all the other different media events that's going to be going down, man. So gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to all the content that we're going to be able to knock out while I'm out there, man. But definitely a big moment for the show. Big moment for everybody who supports the show. And we're gonna get closer and closer holding it down, man. So that's gonna be fun, man. And it'll be in New Orleans. Dante thought it was gonna be in Vegas, which was very funny.
Yeah, you gotta ignore me. I was it was one of them days. You feel me?
which I actually hope it will be in Vegas. I was looking for another opportunity to go to Vegas, but the Bears play in Vegas next year, so I'll be back out there, man. But
you peep Alex with the breaking news?
What was the breaking news?
Alex put it in the chat. Al Harris, passing game coordinator for the Bears, Cowboys DB coach.
Oh wow! Okay. Did not know that. That's good one. That's good one. New D. That's actually really, really good. He worked with Trayvon Diggs and things like that. Shout out to Alex. Breaking news here on the chat. Ben Johnson got Al Harris to come. That is pretty good. So that's gonna be dope. It's from DallasCowboys.com. So that's a big loss for Dallas right there, man. Big one for the Bears. It's on their website right now. Al Harris headlines recent round of coaching departures. That is a big one. What you think about that real quick?
Bro, I mean, they have said he's been building a superstar staff, and I think there's one thing we need for a first-time head coach. We need experience around him. We need quality coaches around him because he's still gonna have to learn some things and pick some things up. So I like it.
Definitely, man. Let's talk about Detroit Lions fans. I got to talk about this, man, because I just don't like how they've been going about the departure of one Ben Johnson. We've seen a lot of people calling him a traitor, saying that he wasn't focused in the playoff game last weekend, and this to me shows that first of all what they called him Osama bin Johnson is some of the funniest stuff that I've ever heard in my life. I've been laughing at that all week. I've been laughing at all different videos of all these fans losing their minds. And I think Richard Sherman said on his podcast yesterday, I don't want to hear that loyalty crap when it comes to sports. At the end of the day, this is a business. These people are businessmen. If he has the opportunity to take a job, it shouldn't be, it's in a division, I'm not going to go there. And if you think this man was not thinking about trying to beat the Washington Commanders and moving on to the NFC Championship game, moving on to the Super Bowl, which would make him more, probably even more high paid, especially if they'd have won the Super Bowl. So I think that's ridiculous. And I also think it shows that Detroit ain't used to winning. Now, I know that sounds crazy coming from a Chicago Bears fan, we not used to winning. But when David Montgomery went to Detroit, we ain't call him a traitor. We ain't say asshole. No, I think majority of Bears fans was like, Debo, you deserve to be on a winning team. I didn't see any type of smoke in that direction they've been throwing towards Ben Johnson. Now, I'm not saying you can't hate him or saying he's an enemy now. That's fine. This is play. This is division rivalry. That's cool. But to call him a traitor and you really acting like a fan base who ain't been there before. And I just feel like they need to be able to just chill out, man. Like, let the man do his thing, and then at least give him credit for what he did while he was there, and just not wish him luck because he's in the same division, but salute him for actually getting the job, man. And that's just wild. What you think about the outlash from Lions fans?
I mean, that's sports today, bro. People are ridiculous. Like, there's no room for nuance, and I understand rivalries, even though partially because my teams have been ass. I don't really care too much about a lot of rivalries anymore. But it's one of those situations where it's like, for y'all to sit here and suddenly, just be pissed off about it, or suddenly, he's a mid coach, or he just blew the game. Y'all sure this is what y'all want? No, this is exactly what we want. Like, we know who we trying to hire, bro. So don't sit here and try to trash the man now, but you were just praising him and saying that he was going to stay and he loved being a coordinator. Because that's what y'all told me a couple months ago, that the man loved Detroit so much that if y'all didn't win it, he was going to run it back and all this other goofy shit. So, I mean, it's one of those situations where you got to take shit like that, in one ear and out the other. Like, they were already upset because they lost. So, now they just vent. They saying things they don't really mean. And I don't take it personal. But the idea that, Ben is suddenly a bad coach because you all lost this game. No, your quarterback tricked off the ball.
Right, exactly. So, exactly. Like, people keep talking about that Jameson Williams play. It's like, dude, was that a bad play in that moment? Yes, 100%. I would not have called that play down 10, I think it was. No.
Yeah.
But they lost because Jared Goff gave it up 4 times. And not only gave it up 4 times, one of them was a pick 6 that literally went to 7 other points. Offensive coordinators make bad plays every time. It happens. You can't all of a sudden call him a bad coach. And you just said it yourself about them saying, oh, he's not going to go anywhere. He loves Detroit. That wasn't a couple months ago. That was last week. I had a Lions fan tell me, well, that's why he's not returning your calls. I guess he did return calls. Let him know. So that's just my thing. It's like, look, dog, act like you've been there, even though you ain't been there. It's just really what I'm looking for from y'all, man. But let's go on to some of these coaches hiring. We got Liam Coen is the new head coach in Jacksonville. Now, he originally interviewed with them and decided to go back to Tampa Bay. Now, this is why you can't really get happy about anything until the pen is actually on the paper. Then they fired Trent Baalke, which they should have done from the jump, which everybody said was going to stop them from getting the top candidates. That maybe the Ben Johnson thing would have turned out different if Trent Baalke wasn't there. Interviewed all these people, see if he weren't going. They got rid of him. And as soon as they got rid of Trent Baalke, he came back. Now, the funniest part about this conversation or story is that he stopped answering calls from the Buccaneers. He went MIA on these niggas. They didn't know where he was at when he was coming in to sign the contract. He's on a private jet. The Shah Khan sent and went out there and agreed to the deal. And at the same time, Robert Saleh, his jet just landed because he was interviewing for the head coaching job, which he found out he wasn't going to get. He went back to San Francisco, and he is the defensive coordinator over there once again. He was defensive coordinator when they went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, the first time they played the Chiefs. And that's going to be a good gift for them. But to me, this whole thing is just funny, but also, despite all I think the process was terrible, but at the end of the day, I feel like Jacksonville came out on the right end of this, man, still being able to get one of the best coaching prospects out there that was available.
I mean, more and more you see why Steve Ballmer locked that nigga DeAndre Jordan in the house. Like, no, what are you doing, bro? People word don't mean what it used to mean no more. So, like you said, until that pen hit the paper, you got to make sure shit is tight. The Jaguars are just a shit show, bro. Like, between the playing multiple games in London, trying to finesse Jacksonville out of upgrades to the stadium, which I drove past the other day. It is a piece of shit. Like it looks bad. But your owner, for you to go into the coaching cycle and say, well, if the right candidate wants to fire him, we'll fire him, with the nigga sitting right next to you, by the way. Why not just let him go? Why not just let him go and actually wipe the slate clean and say, hey, dear, Ben Johnson and every other offensive candidate, you ended up getting Coen, but hey, I have a very talented quarterback. We spent some money last year on some weapons. We have some pieces in place, bro. We just need the right coaching to get this shit right, get it back on track. 2 years ago, we were a playoff team. So for him to not start that from the jump, I know obviously you ended up still with a pretty good candidate, even though he wasn't your number one choice. That's just another example of why I see why people don't necessarily want to go and work for that man, because this is what you get. This is what you've seen from him consistently as an owner. And when you have owners who like to be all in the videos, all in the way, at least win, at least be good. Like shout out to the OG Al Davis. He was winning shit. The Raiders were trash when we were born, but back in the day they were cold. So like it made sense him being the guy that he was. Same with Jerry in the 90s. But when you are getting in the way of the product, or you still putting out a trash product, bro, what are we doing here? Like it's just another ass backwards move from Jacksonville. But I mean, if I'm Coen, hey man, I don't owe you shit. I didn't sign anything. Situations change. And once they fired Bulky, if you Trent Bulky, how bad do you feel?
Exactly.
They've been shitting on you for months, G.
And it changed that quick. A day didn't even pass. It was like 5 hours after he got fired. It was like, oh, Liam Cohen's like, hold on a minute. I think I'll come.
Bro, and Coen probably so dirty, bro. He probably sent them home for the day, and then as he's on his car ride home, he, the phone rang, and he said, don't worry about coming in tomorrow. We're gonna go in a different direction. Like, I highly doubt this was a very clean break. You feel me? Like, just off the way that the Jaguars have moved over the years. So no, it was insane. But if I'm Coen, I gotta take that shot. I have to. I can't not do that. Given the way teams are thirsty for offensive-minded head coaches, and you actually have a quarterback who, while he has struggled at times, Trevor Lawrence is still pretty fucking good. So if you can get him right, you're looking at a top 10 quarterback with weapons. Yeah, let's make something happen.
Definitely, man. Let's go on to the other hires that happened, man. Right after Ben Johnson got hired by the Bears, the second most prized coordinator candidate available was Aaron Glenn. And Aaron Glenn, that's one thing I didn't know about Ben Johnson until like yesterday. I didn't know Ben Johnson was in Detroit before Dan Campbell, and because Dan knew him from Miami, kept him aboard. He was there since 2019. Aaron Glenn came in with Dan Campbell. He's been defensive coordinator since 2021. He is going to be the head coach of the New York Jets, the team that drafted him 31 years ago, 1994. He was their first round draft pick. He will be the new head coach there. And they're going to be bringing in a new GM who we worked with in Detroit as well. And to me, I look at it like this. I like this for Aaron Glenn. I'm rooting for him, rooting for the best. I don't know how they go offensively. Now, of course, we've heard that Woody Johnson, he's done with Aaron Rodgers. He's done with Aaron Rodgers. He said a lot of Jets beat writers said that Aaron's going to be up out of there and they're going to trade Devontae Adams. I look at it like this. This is going to sound crazy considering how I feel about this man. I'd bring him back. And the reason I say that, unless you have a long-term plan for Aaron Glenn, we're going to trade up. And maybe Shador falls to them. Maybe Cam falls to them. I don't know. But unless you have an offensive plan for them, I look at it because I want the best for black coaches. I don't want this to be a situation when he's fired in 3 years from now because they decide to give him no quarterback. And I think that Aaron Rodgers is washed. I've said it time and time again. I just don't see what other option you have if you want to at least give your new coach a fighting chance, unless there is something where, of course, you're in line with your new GM. Y'all on the same timeline, and we're going to start this from scratch. Even if that means the next 2 years are going to be rough football. Well, they've seen rough football, at least rebuilding type football. So I'm interested to see what kind of direction they go in. But I like this for Aaron Glenn, man. He deserves it. He's put in all the time, so definitely interested in seeing that. The Raiders, we all know they put in the full court press for Ben Johnson, especially Tom Brady, but they didn't get him. There they are. They've hired Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, of course, Super Bowl winning head coach, multiple time national champion with USC, Super Bowl with the Seahawks. He is now officially the oldest coach in the NFL. He'll be the new head coach of the Raiders. And this is how I feel about this. If the Raiders, I don't know what they're doing. I don't like this because he's old. He's old, and if you're going to be Pete Carroll, I understand he just wants to coach, and that's why he's back. But if you're the Raiders, Pete Carroll is one of those hires that you make when you know that you're in win now mode. This roster's not in win now mode, which is why the Ben Johnson thing didn't make any sense to me. This makes even less sense to me. Well, at least Ben Johnson's 38. He's 74. He's going to coach, maybe 2, 3, if you're lucky, seasons. What's the plan here? This, to me, you're looking at like, oh, he's just one of the few who's around, and we're just going to take him. So I don't like it. I think this continues to show the Raiders don't know what they're doing. And I think this is just Pete just wanting to be able to coach again, but I don't see any real path to them being able to do anything, especially in that division. That's not only a loaded division quarterback-wise. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Justin Herbert. Potentially, you got a really, really good quarterback in Bo Nix. The book is still yet to be written on him, but there's a lot of good coaches in this division. You got Andy Reid. You got Jim Harbaugh, who was Pete Carroll's mortal enemy, and you got Sean Payton. I don't like this fit for the Raiders. What do you think about both of these hires for the Jets and for the Raiders?
Oh yeah, for the Raiders, this is horrible. This is horrible. Pete Carroll, 96 years old. I don't know why we're still doing this. Like, I think this is one of those situations where you tell Pete, I respect your resume, I understand who you are, but sir, we're gonna move in a different direction. Because you have a very young team. You need to build around that team, and you want somebody to grow with that team. I know a lot of people always say, well, these young players need leadership and all of that, but nah, bro. I think in this situation, this was definitely a misstep and something that they're gonna look back and regret doing. As for the Jets, bro, I can't bring back Aaron Rodgers. I just can't do that. I can't. I understand there's a lot of that leaves a lot of shit up to question, but I'm gonna just have to try to figure it out. I'm with you. I want my black coaches to have the best footing possible when they move into these jobs, but dealing with the chaos that is everything involving Aaron Rodgers, I don't think that's something that a first year head coach should have to deal with. So for me, I like the Aaron Glenn hire. I think again, he's a lot like Ben. It's about the staff he builds around him, but I think more than anything, get what you can for Devontae. I don't think you get much, and get Aaron Rodgers up out of there, because I think he's just not going to be what you need in terms of building an actual culture that you want.
And then also, too, I think that would be an interesting dynamic with him and Aaron Glenn. Like, Aaron Glenn doesn't strike me as a man who's going to take the bullshit that Aaron Rodgers be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just doesn't strike me whatsoever. That he would be able to stand for that. It's just more than just a play. It's Aaron Rodgers, just the way he be moving, man. So there's only 2 coaching vacancies right now. It's the Cowboys, and when the Deion smoke lasted for about 3 days, and then there was nothing to it. He hasn't come in for an interview. There hasn't been any other updates. Looks like it's gonna be Brian Schottenheimer, which I guess, nigga, I don't know what Jerry is doing over there. Said Justin Fields. I don't see. I hate to say this about Justin. I can't see it, because if you're starting, like, Justin is not somebody who you're gonna bring a new staff around, and do you want another defensive coach around Justin? That, I think the most likely spot for Justin is hopefully they give him a shot in Pittsburgh to be a full-time starter, and they let Russ walk. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna go to any spot where he's automatically given the keys. I want to talk about some. We weren't on the air on Monday, so we on CP time right now. But I had to talk about how the Baltimore Ravens Buffalo Bills game ended, because there's a lot of conversation on Twitter, and I wanted to get my take off. And there's a couple things that stood out to me. One, This was a team loss. I don't think there's one person specifically to blame. I know a lot of people want to just fully blame Mark Andrews. I don't fully blame Mark Andrews. I think there's three people to blame for this. There's Mark Andrews. There's Todd Monken. I didn't like any of his goal line play calling. I didn't understand both 2-point conversions. I didn't understand not giving it to Derrick Henry on either one of those 2-point conversions. They had no answer for that man. I didn't understand that. They did what they usually do in all these games this season, which is ignore the fact that they have Derrick Henry. I thought that was something that didn't work out for them. Oh, wow. Antoine Randall L is with the Bears. Bears are working to finalize the deal to make former Lions wide receiving coach Antoine Randall L is their new assistant head coach. Hey, Dante, you was talking about that. You was talking about that.
Yeah, bruh. They putting the staff together.
They putting the staff together, bruh.
And I love the staff. And it's former players. Like it's people who played the game. Like I think when you're looking to get into these skill positions, like even with the guys like Raheem Morris, like guys who have played the game before, I think this is what you really want to see from your first year head coach, bro. So I like that a lot. I like that.
And he coming back home. He went to Thornton, right?
He went to Thornton. Yeah, he went to Thornton.
Shout out to Antoine Randall L. That's a good one. Mariano about to join us in a second. He's setting up. Hey man, I'm gonna get back to my point just a minute. I just want to say he putting a staff together, yo. He putting a staff together that a pro staff. And I like how he said, I'm not going to raid his account. We're really about to see what Dan Campbell is made out of, because how's he going to replace these guys? You know what I'm saying? That's something I'm going to be looking at. But back to the Ravens. The thing about the Ravens to me, like I said, that is also stood out to me is they keep ignoring Derrick Henry. And that's something I felt like they can't do. You know what I'm saying? They can't do that. And I felt that was a big part of that. And then also, look, man, I finally gave Lamar his credit this year. I think Lamar had a phenomenal year. I think Lamar should be the MVP. I don't think he will win the MVP. I think they're going to give it to Josh Allen. And I think he's probably going to win Offensive Player of the Year. But I think if I had a vote, Lamar would be my MVP this year. Phenomenal. This is the best passing I've ever seen him done. He's just unstoppable. 2 turnovers. I seen too many people after the game was like, oh, you can't put that on Lamar. It's like y'all protect him when he does things. And he's not to blame for this. I know the interception, that wasn't as costly because I think the Ravens got a 3 and out right after that. But that fumble led to a score. So, yes, he made up for it in the second half. He led a drive that should have tied the football game if Mark Andrews doesn't drop the ball. I saw Chris Sims and a couple others try to blame Lamar for that ball. You can't do that. This is my rule for pass catchers. If it's in your hands, catch the ball. So I don't blame him for that. But you can't say that there's no blame to not go around. This is a tough loss. And unfortunately for Lamar, he's got an under 500 playoff record, and whether it's right or wrong, they're going to start to judge him for that. And I see a lot of fans were blaming John Harbaugh. I'm the first to say that Lamar Jackson has saved John Harbaugh's job, but John Harbaugh not to blame. I think sometimes we don't give players the blame. I think it's a full team loss, and they got to find a way to bounce back from this, man. It feels like they always shoot themselves in the foot. And I thought the defense, they had a terrible first half of the season. They've been the number 1 defense in the league since week 11. They played a good game, and it was unfortunate how it ended.
Yeah, and I really appreciate Lamar's reaction and the fact that he took blame and said, we as a team, we've been turning the ball over, and that's something that we can't do. That's something that they've continued to have issues with in the postseason, and I think it's unfortunate because even though we know MVP is a regular season award, you're going to have so many people who point to that and say, see, you can't give him the MVP. And the reality is, even though I'm with you, I think they're going to give it to Josh Allen on some narrative shit. But Lamar Jackson was the best quarterback in the NFL this season. I think that goes without saying. And so it's really just more so another year of wait and see. If I'm, Mark Andrews, obviously he didn't drop that ball on purpose, but, you got to feel for him. That was sick. Hit him in both hands. Chris Sims is full of shit because falling back or not, he catches that ball 99 times out of 100. So they even sit here and say, well, Lamar set him up for Chris Sims says a lot of dumb shit. Like, if you really listen to what he says a lot of dumb shit, and he's one of those people. If your last name wasn't Sims, you probably wouldn't be on TV right now, sir. So it's one of those things where it's like, whatever. So I don't really pay that no mind. But again, yeah, now you got to just wait another year. It's another year waiting to see what we can get from Lamar, because we know the talent is there. You know, we know what he's going to do in the regular season, but, you know, it seems like he always gets snake bitten in the postseason with a couple of bad plays that end up going the other way.
Definitely, man. We're gonna take a quick break. Mariano will be back on the other side. We're gonna preview these two games. It is Championship Sunday, NFC Championship, Commanders, Eagles, AFC Championship, Chiefs, Bills. Who's gonna be in New Orleans in 2 weeks? Who's gonna be joining me in New Orleans in 2 weeks for the Super Bowl, man? We'll be right back in just 1 minute.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.
All right,
my boys.
We are back. Mariano is back. It has been a while, my dog. You are back here. How you feeling, brother? It's been a while.
I'm feeling good, man. Yo, I appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? Anytime I get to pull up, you know what I'm saying, on this, you know, I always take full advantage, dog. I love y'all. Y'all know that. This shit go back years and years. Shit ain't gonna never change, man. You know how that go with us. I feel good though, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a good mood. You see, I'm in a George Costanza shirt and all that. So what type of time I'm on, man. You know what I'm saying? How y'all doing though?
I'm feeling pretty good, man. We got the Ben Johnson era started, man.
Mm-hmm.
We got some good coaches. Antoine Randall coming back to the crib.
Shout out to Antoine Randall. That's a goddamn name,
boy. Got Al Harris from the Cowboys. He's building the staff, man. We feeling good, man. But how you feel, man? Your Giants, man. Y'all prime position right here, man. Pick 3. There's been a lot of talk about Shedeur and Cam dropping, and Shedeur might be a 3. Deion Jr.'s even had the pictures of the cleats, said, we know where we going. What's your vibe heading into this offseason, man, as a Giants fan? How you feeling?
Number one, I'm mad. Because we had it. Like, we had it, bro. We had it right there. We had the first pick, but we ain't got to do none of this debating or who we going to take or who going to fall. And then we won that game against the Colts when Joe Flacco had a chance to do something spectacular and, like, you know, save the tank. But I do feel good about going into the draft because I do feel like even if we miss out on Cam, who is my favorite player in the draft, I do think Shedeur will be there at number 3 for us. I do. And I feel good about that. I feel very good about that.
Definitely, man. We're gonna talk NFC Championship, AFC Championship in just a second, but I need you to defend your city real quick, brother.
Like, I got you.
That's been Lions fans been going outside since this Ben Johnson thing, dog.
Nasty behavior.
I'm gonna tell you why though. I'm gonna tell you why, and I'm gonna talk to the Lions fans. Listen, I'm Detroit born and raised, Henry Ford Hospital. You know what I'm saying? I'm right there. Do the knowledge. Here's what's going on with the city and with Lions fans, right? This is the first time in our lifetime that the Lions have been considered like contenders, right? Last season, you get a game away from the Super Bowl. This year, you look to take that step, in the right direction, but unfortunately, you take a step back, and now you start to lose coordinators left and right. This is what the Lions fans have to understand. You're always going to have problems when it comes to rooting for your team. Either they're terrible or they're really good, and they can't get over the hump. And that's where you are now, right? So when you root for a good team and you got this, you went from 12-5 to 15-2, and this is new territory for you. Like, now the morning shows are talking about your team, and you don't really like what they got to say because they nitpicking. But they used to not talk about you at all. So be grateful and be in the moment. But also you got to understand, like, this is what everybody else has been. You know what I mean? Like when you finally get to the party and you like, oh, this is the kind of champagne y'all get, bro. You at the party, like, just
It's like on Chappelle's show. Why you always tell me how good the cheese was?
Yeah. You punch somebody, they ain't tell you how good the cheese was. You know what I'm saying? But so now here's the real test, because when your team becomes real good, guess what happens? Now other teams take notice and they say, okay, well, that offensive coordinator, I like how he handled this. That defensive coordinator, okay, I see something. So that's why the windows in the NFL are so small, because you have one chance damn near to get it done. Ask Joe Burrow. How small the window is to compete, and how easy it is to get back there, how hard it is to get back. Like it's not guaranteed. So, now next season the challenge is going to be, obviously you got players coming back from injuries. Hopefully Aiden Hutchinson heals up well and we can see him at 100%. He's just a great player to watch anyway, whether you're a Lions fan or not. And then a couple more injuries that they had, but this is where you are now. You have good team problems, but you still have problems. It's just what it is. That's just part of it, because you got to think about it, bro. The last time the Lions went to the NFC Championship game before last year was what, 92? Or something like
92, 93. It's over 30 years ago. Yeah.
I was like 4. I'm a grown man with kids,
I was like 4 or 5,
and responsibilities and shit now. So it's like, now that you guys are back in, and talking, I got a lot of friends that's Lions fans, and all of that. My Facebook was comedy the night that they lost. I'm sorry, I had to laugh at all expense. My apologies in advance, but I laughed that night, the next day after that, because there was just a lot of people on there saying, like, I'm still a fan. I know you are. I know that a 15-2 season is not gonna shake your fandom, because the 0-16 season didn't. So like, I know that you're still gonna be fans, and you still should rep your team, but you have to start to understand that, like, now that you're a good team and there's expectations, there's gonna be disappointment. So you just got to get used to it. That's it.
And also, too, what was funny, first of all, I know too many people in Detroit. One of my, I say it's my third home. LA is my second home. It's my third home. Like my auntie been living out there for 23 years now. And the funny thing was, I was actually with my auntie and uncle when the news broke, and my uncle walked through the door, and I was like, oh, we got this. What happened? He was like, what happened? I was like, we got your offensive coordinator. That's what happened. So, we're really gonna see what Dan Campbell's made of. He lost Ben Johnson, he lost Aaron Glenn, he lost their defensive line coach to the Patriots, and now he's lost Antoine Randall to the Bears. So we were really gonna see what it's like. Man. And we know the one thing I always say about Detroit Lions fans, a lot of people don't know until they actually go to Detroit. That is a passionate fan base, even when they were sorry.
Listen, bro, I'm gonna take it a step further. I think that you should throw out the Zodiac requirements when it comes to dating. Date you a Detroit Lions fan or a New York Jets fan. Those are two of the most loyal people that you're going to find in the world. We're not just talking about the world of sports. We're talking about the world, the entire world, everything.
Bears fans
find you one of them.
Bears fans too. I have gone through many things in my 30 years rooting for this franchise, man. But let's get into it, man. We got 3 more games left in the NFL season. It's bittersweet. And Mariano, you missed the announcement. I'm gonna be at the Super Bowl, holding it down. Super Bowl week, holding it down. For Barbershop Network. Whenever
the good guys get a W, man, it feel good for everybody, man. I'm happy for you, my brother. I'm proud of you. Damn, bro. Yo, let's get it. I'm ready for that. I'm ready for Super Bowl Scott, man.
I'm gonna be on another level. I didn't get Radio Row, but I'm gonna get it soon. And what's funny was, shout out to the homegirl Tiff. She sent me a text that I texted her like a year ago. I'm gonna be at the Super Bowl next year, and like I got approved to the date is when I got the approval in email. Beautiful. So it's gonna be an opening night. Gonna be all the other media events. Gonna be holding it down, man. I'm gonna be getting my hits from the street on out there as well.
Love to see it. You love to see it, man.
That's gonna be fun, man. But before you get to Super Bowl, you got the championship games, NFC Championship, AFC Championship game. Mikey said it in the local, and I agree with him. Championship Sunday, low key, be better than the Super Bowl a lot of times. Like just the atmosphere, last home games for both teams. But we got NFC. Let's start with the NFC Championship game.
Oh boy.
NFC East matchup here. I know the Giants fan, you don't like this matchup. You got
not only do I not like it, I hate it.
This is nasty.
It's Op Alert. Yeah, the Op Bowl.
Because I gotta pick one.
Right.
I got to.
It's Op Bowl right here. That's like if the Lions and the Packers met in the NFC Championship game, I would vomit. You know what I'm saying?
Shit, that's what we thought was gonna happen this year.
Yeah,
We was
damn near.
nervous. We can't lie. We was nervous.
We was more close last year than we were this year.
I'm torn, but I think I've made a decision on who I would rather see in the Super Bowl.
We're gonna get to the picks in just a minute, but let's talk about the storyline. And this storyline right here actually has nothing to do with the game, but it's actually hilarious. Did y'all see the clip from Jaden Daniels' mama about her protecting Jaden from the scallywags out here? That is from a documentary that actually came out months ago. It's based on the NIL, LSU being one of the first big NIL schools. It's based on four athletes. It's Jaden Daniels, Andrew Reese, one of the actually it's three of them, and the track, the track runner they had out there. Yeah, so she was like, "Oh, I'm protecting them from them," and I feel her. She's doing what mothers can do, but it's like what Killer Cam said on "It Is What It Is" this morning. If he wants one of them scallywags, it just is what it is. No, you know what I'm saying? Moms can't stop him from falling in the trap. It's just what happened. It is. I respect moms for saying that. She doing what she got to do, trying to protect her son. But in the day, Jaden a grown man.
There's too many nice feet out there, man. I'm telling you that right now. There's only so many times you can look over them white toes and you're like, damn.
Exactly. There's only many noses you're gonna get. And we don't know what it was like for McCaskey. I'm pretty sure he was starting quarterback. I'm pretty sure they're picking a litter at LSU. But that NFL pressure is a different thing. So that was just a funny story to me right there. Yeah. But storylines right here, the Eagles trying to get back to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years. They lost in overtime to the Kansas City Chiefs 2 years ago in a game that Jalen Hurts played the best. He outplayed Patrick Mahomes. If they would have won that game, he would have been the Super Bowl MVP. They're trying to get back there. Saquon Barkley. Like, if this wasn't a quarterback award, which I hate that's just a quarterback award, he would be my MVP choice. And I never got to ask you this. How do you feel watching Saquon as a Giants fan?
I mean, the thing is, he's doing things that we knew he could do. Like, he really broke a record like his rookie year with us. And you know what I'm saying? Like, we just never really had a stable enough team to make a weapon work for us like that. You know what I'm saying? But like, the one thing that I will say that like bothered me about the whole thing is not him or his decision or any of that. Like, that's cool, whatever. You know, he said he always wanted to be a Giant and all this shit. And it's like, bro, you didn't. You wanted to leave. It's cool. It's fine. It's no problem. But the people acting like, oh, like now we get to see what Saquon can really, like, bro, we knew he could play. We knew he could hoop. It's not like he was wasting away on our bench begging for playing time and we just wouldn't play him. And like now he's in Philadelphia and it's like, we finally get to see what he can do. Like, come on, bro. No, you put him with a team that has great offensive line play. They have, I mean, there's nothing bad you can say about him, really. It's plug and play. You put a great running back into a team that's, you know, loaded already. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get NFC Championship, possibly Super Bowl. So, you know, I don't really like. I don't know. I didn't like the Eagles anyway. It's not like I was planning on liking them this season.
Right. It's not like it changed your hate.
I'm like rats. Like
right. I just think there's been a lot of things with these two NFC East teams, which because now I don't have any. Do y'all be watching Chris Canty like? Chris Canty is the absolute
he's a joke, bro.
Example of just because you played the game.
I'm glad you said it, Dante.
You know what I'm talking about. Because he be saying some stupid shit on that show. Said the Bears drafted Sam Bowie twice. Nigga, shut up. Like the thing that annoys me, and that's the other storyline here with Jaden. Jaden Daniels possibly having maybe the best rookie season in NFL history for a quarterback. This is their first NFC Championship game since 1991. They haven't been to the Super Bowl. I think they went to Super Bowl 90. They actually won in 91, if I'm not mistaken. So you have that. They got their first playoff win since 2005, and they've been building off that. But I'm sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, Caleb Sam Bowie." If you people act like he was Zach Wilson and shit. Like yes, he was up and down. I was at all the games. I know what he was. He threw for 20 touchdowns, 3,500 yards. Didn't even have 5 interceptions. So I just hate this notion he needs to be, quote unquote, fixed. He needs to be worked on, obviously. He needs to grow and get better. But I don't like that narrative. But everything to me, I don't want to say the that the Commanders are playing with house money because once you get to this point, you want to win. You know what I'm saying? And like you just said, Mariano, you don't know how long your window will be.
You never know.
You can't say that, oh, they'll be right back here next year. You don't know that. You 100% don't know that, man. So those are two storylines here to me. Dante, what stands out to you out the storylines involved in this game?
I mean, it's really Jaden Daniels for me. Like everything he's doing as a rookie in this moment, really embracing the big moments. I know we saw it during the regular season, and we had to tip our cap to it. I know Scott was calling it a lot of lucky shit, and he throwing screen passes and shit like that. But I had to really take a step back and look at it, and it's like
I was hating.
Everything he's accomplished as a rookie. I mean, we still scoring from the Hail Mary. Like I'm gonna let it go now, but I mean, everything he's done as a rookie has been dope. And coming into the season with, I'm not saying he was overlooked, but outside of Dan Orlovsky, let's be real, it was nobody saying, oh man, the Bears should take Jaden over Caleb. Dan Orlovsky was the only one who said that and stood on it. So for the most part, being just a foregone conclusion at the second pick, some people, wondering whether it would be him or Drake, and him going into DC with that new ownership group and just trying to bring a new energy to the city, and they did that. And so everything he's done, I think for me, this is really a dope story. And, we all know the history with Doug Williams. If they could get back to the Super Bowl with a black quarterback, that's something I think that would be fire. As far as Saquon, I think the Saquon story is just going to be hilarious. As long as they allow that footage from Hard Knocks to still be out there. And it looks even worse when the icing on the cake was his son saying straight up for Jaden Daniels, Dad. Yeah. Because now you don't have Saquon or Daniel Jones. So it's like, damn, you might be the dumbest person in your house. So, that's just an insane situation. Especially because we knew what Saquon was. The year they paid Daniel Jones, Saquon was, I want to say, 70% of the offense or something silly.
Yeah. So
it's like you knew the talent was there. And this, I ain't gonna lie, Saquon, hold on.
You good?
I said I was gonna stop slandering this man, but I got to. Saquon being there is taking the heat off that IG model up there. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Listen. Hey, listen. Speak, brother.
Playing quarterback.
Speak.
The boy playing quarterback. Let's talk about it.
If you got a hat to pass around right now, pass it around my way twice.
Bro, you got your wide receiver over there reading books and shit. And he, I read this all the time. Stop.
Eagles fans got a lot of nerve when the Chargers lost. When the Chargers lost to the Texans, niggas like, y'all got the nerve to compare Justin Herbert to Jalen Hurts. Yeah, I still do today. What are we talking about? And
that would be disrespectful to Justin Herbert. So
that's exactly. What are we talking about? I if I was an Eagle fan, I'd run a kid over to have Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts. What are we talking about? But you're right, Dante. Go ahead.
Yeah, but no, that's really it. Those are my two really big storylines. I think with Saquon, the season he had, I hate that he didn't go get the record, but I get it. I just hope, sitting out that one game, you better have a hell of a NFC Championship and Super Bowl. You feel me? So just make it worth it. So that's what I want to see. But I can't hate on Jaden. I think, coming in year one, especially the way he left Arizona State and everybody trashing his locker, acting like, he's trash anyway. For him to finally have the last laugh, I win the Heisman and then I come to the league and I'm damn near on the verge of going to the Super Bowl my rookie year. Like that I like stories like that. So those are my two big storylines, but I'm really more so concerned with what the Commanders do.
Mariano, what storylines stick out to you for this Op Bowl for you?
So here's the thing. Saquon, obviously, like you said, the hard knock footage is going to make whatever he does. Like every time he ran the ball, every rushing attempt, somebody put that clip out, right? So obviously you got that. He leaves the Giants, goes to Philly. They get, back to the Super Bowl. His first Super Bowl appearance is cool. I think for me, overwhelmingly, it's Jaden Daniels because we're looking at a Washington team that has been, the butt of every joke from the name change to ownership to, who's going to be the quarterback. And, it was just a lot of just like a clown show, and they've been like kind of a joke for a long time, even as bad as we've been. It's always been like, yeah, but we ain't them. And now it's flipped around where it's like, yeah, Washington is like really a team to look out for. They're a team that's building and going in the right direction. And they weren't necessarily seen as a quarterback away, but they got the right quarterback, and now everything looks like it's just, fired. Like it just works. Everything is working. I think that this would be a good. Not good. It's tough for me to give compliments to these teams, man. It's tough, but so where I was a little while back when I saw the matchup get set up and everything was like, I can't decide if I want to see Jalen Hurts get back to the Super Bowl with Saquon this time and then lose, or if I want to see Jaden Daniels get to the Super Bowl and lose. I think I prefer Jaden Daniels get to the Super Bowl and lose. Both of these scenarios end with one of those teams losing for me. Like, by the way, let's be all the way.
Yeah,
I think the title is going to be in the AFC. Period. Doesn't matter. But I think if I had to pick one, it would be Washington because I just don't. I don't like the Eagles. I just don't.
I said about Philadelphia.
It's not that I'm a fan of Washington or anything like that, but it's just like it'd be the better storyline. It would probably help me sleep better. You know what I'm saying? If they go, because I know that either team is going to lose. I just don't want the Eagles to make it. That's all. Yeah. I don't want the Eagles to be successful.
I was say Magic got the Midas touch, bro. So any team that Magic touch, bro, it's tough to against them.
Hey, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, that nigga put holy water on the Dodgers, nigga. Like
I was gonna say it was a terrible way we could take that, but we're not gonna do it.
Yeah. Oh, the lane was clear. I had about 4 jokes that I decided.
No, for sure, bro. Like it's.
I'm getting too close.
We love Magic, man.
Look, I'm getting too close to success. Be making Magic Johnson jokes. I'm sorry.
For sure, yeah. That's why as soon as I saw it, I had to let that one sail out of bounds. Like, I ain't gonna.
Exactly.
I ain't gonna be the one to. You know what I'm saying? But
and Philadelphia fans are assholes, like all of them.
For sure, bro.
It don't matter what sport. Like they're annoying. But here's some of the X factors to me for this game for both teams. If you're the Commanders and you're trying to win this game, I think you need to shut that running game down. I know that's going to be a tough feat, especially for that defense that I think has been more opportunistic more than actual good. They got some old heads over there. You got Bobby Wagner. You've got some I don't say no name guys, but guys who probably don't have the biggest names in the NFL. You got Jonathan Allen, who's been there for years and is finally being able to play on a good team. If they can find a way to slow down Saquon and slow down Jalen Hurts with the legs, make Jalen beat you with your arm. To me, that's the best way for them to win this football game is being able to do that. If Saquon gets loose, that lets Jalen get loose. And the thing about Jalen that keeps Eagles fans talking the way that he talks is they never lose the game because of Jalen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he is like a better version of a game manager. And I say better version because when it comes down to it, he can still make the throws. It's just not as consistent as you would want it to be. So I feel like that would be the key for them. And also Jaden Daniels doing what Jaden Daniels been doing. Keep doing the things you've been doing all season. It doesn't look like his confidence is shaking. Doesn't look like he is smelling himself too much. He looks cool, calm, and collected out there. And I think those are the best right there. For the Eagles, their defense, number 1 defense in the league this year. Shout out to Vic Fangio. He's done a tremendous job with that defense. Pass rush has been good. The secondary has been good. They need to keep Jaden Daniels in the pocket. If they can keep Jaden in the pocket, you give yourself a better chance to win this game. What we saw in these last 2 playoff games against Detroit, against Tampa, is what has killed both teams on 3rd down is when all the wide receivers were locked up, that you let Jaden go run and get a 1st down and keep the drive going. Keep that man in the pocket, and you can give yourself the best chance to win. And I'm finna use a Matt Nagy quote, but just be you. If the Eagles beat them, I see no reason why they shouldn't win this game by at least 10 points, in my personal opinion. Dante, what are some X factors for you for both teams to be able to win this game?
The X factor for me is Cliff Kingsbury and him getting Jaden into a rhythm early. If they're able to do that, we know how that Eagles front 4 is and the way they're able to disrupt things. If they're able to get Jaden into a rhythm early, using the RPOs, getting his legs moving, but also moving the ball down the field, that could be trouble for Philadelphia. Because we've seen Washington put up a lot of points, like on a lot of different teams. Even against the Bears, they only scored, the 13 or 15, whatever it was, but they were moving the ball all over the field all night. Like, that's one thing that team can do. So getting them into a rhythm early, I think Austin Eckler is going to be an X factor because you got to be able to run the ball. If they can, keep Jalen Carter in that defensive line on their heels and not just having their ears pinned back coming at the rookie. So you got to be able to establish that run game. I think those are really the X factors for Washington if they want to win this game. The Eagles, is Saquon gonna have to be Superman, or is he gonna get some help? I mean, that's the question you got to ask. I mean, we know he has the ability to do it, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of quality pieces on that offense. I think Devontae Smith, we don't talk about him enough, but I think he's one of the best receivers in the league, but he is just not getting the rock right now. So it's it's one of those things where everybody was real happy when Jalen came to the podium with that Kango on and said that's what y'all wanted to see, and we haven't seen it since.
And then nigga made one deep pass and started talking like he was Patrick Mahomes, nigga.
He hopped in that bitch like Willie Beeman, but no, it's we haven't seen it since. So it's like I want to know which Philadelphia offense is going to show up. You've been able to make it through the playoffs, even though I feel like that last game would have been a different game if it's not snowing. The snow definitely helped them out there personally. But I think what Philadelphia team are we going to see, and that's going to determine what they do. We'll get to our picks in a second, but I think those are the two X factors. Well, those are my X factors for both teams.
Yeah.
Mark, what's your X factors?
So it's funny that you mentioned Devontae Smith, because I feel like that's probably going to be the biggest X factor for Philly, because like if you get Devontae Smith involved, he's different. Like he's, like you said, he's one of the best in the league. I think if you get him involved early, it's going to open up a lot of things like, offensively, because it's like, damn, okay, we wasn't ready for this dude to actually play quarterback today. Okay, so like now what? So now you dropping back and like you open everything up for Saquon. I feel like if they go to Devontae Smith early and keep feeding him, shit could get ugly like very quick. I think he's that dynamic of a player. For Washington, my only question mark is just the coaching. Like, are y'all gonna coach Jaden out of this game, or y'all gonna rely, lean into the things that make him great? And as long as his coaches don't, stun him in this game, then I think like they should be fine. So it's Jaden Daniels for Washington, because he's the one that makes everything go. But like I said, for me, it's Devontae Smith for sure for Philly, because I just don't. I feel like if you don't get him involved, then like you kind of become one dimensional a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because like AJ Brown can do what he does, but if you do not get Devontae Smith involved, it's going to be tough. That shit is going to be super tough.
I agree. Devontae definitely has to get involved. They're just way more explosive when he's out there, man. Time for picks, game picks, man. I thought about this all week. This was the hardest pick. My AFC pick really wasn't hard at all. We'll get to that in a minute. But my NFC pick was hard. Because I do see a world where the Commanders could win this game. But I'm gonna take the vets. I'm gonna take the Eagles. Stay at the crib. They're at Lincoln Financial Field. They have the better defense. They have the more polished offense. And I just feel like, they are kind of in the same position that the Niners were last year, where they're going to try to get some get back for 2 years ago. And they've been, last year they had a fall off year after losing both of their coordinators. I just think as long as they play their game, they should win. Now, Jaden Daniels, from everything we've seen this year, and especially the playoffs, if he's on, you can just throw whatever game plan you had out the window. So it's gonna take the defense more than anything. But I'm gonna take the Eagles. I'm gonna say they win this one 30-20. 30-20, I believe, will be the final score, and they will go on to the Super Bowl in New Orleans. Dante, who you got?
I'm going 27-17 Commanders.
Oh, okay. You got them, man. Mario, I know you said you would rather see the Commanders lose. So are you picking them?
I would rather see the Commanders go, but I feel like if you were asking me to bet my own money on it, I would probably take the Eagles. I'm just gonna trust the team that's like been there, you know what I mean, been there, done that kind of thing. So I'll say it's gonna be like a 28-22 kind of game. And
I just want to say this for Commanders fans who obviously I've not been their favorite this year. Commanders Reddit has not been a fan of this show. They've not been a fan. I will say this. I say this from experience. I don't give a damn how fun the season is. There's nothing like when that loss hits in the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl. No matter how fun this year was, if they lose this game or in 2 weeks, you ain't gonna be sleeping for some months, my nigga. Like we coming up on the 18th anniversary since the Bears lost the Super Bowl, and I still ain't over. I was 18 when they lost that game. I'm a 36-year-old tax-paying grown man, and I still see Kelvin Hayden intercepting Rex Grossman in that rain in my sleep. Okay,
Damn,
like
man.
I know everybody likes the Devin Hester kick. I'm the only nigga that hates that kick, and I say that because that 2 minutes was the peak of my Bears fandom, and that night was the worst night of my Bears fandom.
Oh, yeah,
The
that's
worst
tough.
night. So
Yeah,
I don't
tough.
have the same joy when I see that kick. And it grinds my gears when I see 06 Bears talking like they won a Super Bowl. Like stop talking, nigga. Like you didn't win anything. So I just say that to Commanders fans.
Scott, you know what it was like this season, man? It was like when Day was like, I bet he don't get it. I bet he don't get it. He don't get it.
That's to me with the Commanders on you.
I was seeing the tweets and I was like, you know what? I understand why Scott is doing this because I was like that with Eli and Phillip Rivers. Like they connected, you know what I'm saying? Like by narratives or by just the storyline or whatever. And now Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels are forever. They're going to be forever because like it's Trey and Luka. It's the same kind of, you know, even though they weren't traded for each other. But it's like, okay, the way that they panned out 1 and 2, like this is just the way it's going to go. This is the natural progression of things. And I was sitting back looking at the tweets and I said, that's what it is. This is what it is. I get it.
It's up forever. We played them again this year. And I don't understand why these games are always in DC. It's the third year in a row. Like what's
that's crazy.
On? Like FedEx Field is the worst field in football. So Soldier Field stinks, but FedEx Field makes Soldier Field look like SoFi.
That's crazy.
They elevator stopped working at 9 p.m. Like it's just not good. Yeah, it stinks out there. Like for real.
That's tough.
But that's who we got, man. So let's go on to the AFC Championship. This is the main event right here. Like for everybody who was fake rooting for the Texans last week, I know y'all hate Pat, but cut the crap. We all knew that it had to come down to go through Pat, whether it's Josh or whether it's Lamar. In the words of the legendary Ric Flair, if you want to beat a man, woo, you got to beat the man. It had to go through. Either we was going to get a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game, or we was going to get Josh and Pat. And we got Josh and Pat for the 4th time. Now, Josh has a really good record against Pat in the regular season, which doesn't matter because we all know the Bulls whooped the big 3 ass in the regular season during the LeBron eras, the Hedo era. Come playoffs, didn't matter. During the playoffs, the Chiefs are 3-0 against the Bills and beat them last year in the divisional round on the road. I think the Chiefs, the Bills missed a field goal, if I'm not mistaken. So storylines here, I think we all got the same storylines here. I don't even got to ask y'all because I think we're on the same page. 2 big storylines. One, are the Chiefs going to be the first team it's a 13-second show. Who the Chiefs going to be? This is funny. Are they going to be the first team in NFL history to three-peat? We've seen teams try. The Steel Curtain Steelers tried. Didn't get it done. The 80s San Francisco 49ers tried. Not only did they not get it done, Joe Montana got killed by Lawrence Taylor in that game. He was never the same. Never the same man after that. The 90s Cowboys tried. To this day, Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin argue about whether that was pass interference on that final play that would have got them to the Super Bowl. And I think that the Cowboys inevitably would have done the same thing the Niners did, and that's watch the San Diego Chargers. Then you got the New England Patriots. The Denver Broncos tried. They didn't make the playoffs. The New England Patriots tried. They lost in the divisional round to the Denver Broncos. Now the Chiefs have already done something that the Patriots didn't do, and that's actually make it to the championship game. So that's the storyline for them. Storyline for the Bills is very simple. Can they be the first team to actually make the Super Bowl and get it done? We all know the story about the 90s Bills. There's a damn 30 for 30 up right now on ESPN Plus. It's one of the best 30 for 30s. They lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, and only one of them was close. They've been to Super Bowl. Whitney Houston did the national anthem. Michael Jackson performed. We know the Scott Norwood missed kick. They grabbed my helmet when Harry Connick Jr. was performing. Like, we've heard all the stories. Can Josh Allen put that all to bed and bring a championship back to Western New York for the first time? That's the tail of the tape right here, man. So the X factors, to me, there's only one X factor. who's gonna be the big dog? Can Josh go to Arrowhead and beat that man in his house? That, by the way, only one person has done in the Patrick. Well, two people have done in the Patrick Mahomes era. Tom Brady and Josh Allen have come to Arrowhead and beat this man. It's the 7th AFC Championship game in a row. So the X factor is which quarterback is going to be better. Which running game is going to be able to be better? Is James Cook going to be able to have a good game? Is Joe Brady not going to get cute? Is the defense going to make sure you stop the Chiefs on those third downs? I know everybody's crying about the refs. I don't want to hear about the referees because we got to stop acting like that the best players don't get calls. There was too many LeBron James fans I saw on my timeline complaining about Pat getting calls. I'm like, I know y'all ain't complaining about that. You look at LeBron, it's a foul. With anybody who's a great, you get the benefit of the doubt. So that to me is the X factor. Is there any X factors y'all had that I didn't name for this game? Dante, I'll go to you first.
No, that's all I got. That's really about Pat, bro. Is God on your side, nigga? Yes or no? That's it.
What about you, Mark?
Yeah, I feel like for Buffalo, it's probably going to be James Cook, because it's like if it comes down to where you need to make plays out of the backfield in those short down situations, and 3rd and 2s and 2nd and 3s, and when it get really when you like relying on the trenches, can we rely on you? Like, are you going? You've seen these moments do a lot of things to a lot of players, man. Dudes can't hold on to the ball. They start running, backwards, all this kind of shit. So, like, can you step up to the moment and be reliable? I know a lot of people aren't crazy about, like, addition by subtraction and, less is more and stuff like that. But I feel like with Josh this season, he's proven, like, this is very much addition by subtraction. You take away, like, a top weapon from him, right? A perceived top weapon from him. You kind of simplify the game for him where he doesn't have to focus on, like, okay, if I don't get him the ball, it's going to be an issue. Like, now he can just really play. So I understand what the history says, what the tape says, and I know that Pat, Courtney and I, we talked about this beginning of the season. Like, yeah, Pat is going to three-peat until you show me otherwise. I think that this Bills team at this moment, it creates a little bit of like, they could do it. If somebody can do it, it could be them. And then for the Chiefs, it's just like, what Travis Kelce are we going to get? That's the X factor for me. Like, are you going to be the Travis Kelce that we see in spot moments where you can, get 100 yards and, on 8 catches and, get a touchdown with it and all that? Or are you going to disappear? Yeah. So it's James Cook for me for the Bills, and it's Travis Kelce for the Chiefs. But, we'll see. We'll see, man. Playoffs is different, though. It's different.
Playoffs is different, and it's hard to win it early, bro. Like, it was like, if you look at any great play, it was hard to beat the Patriots in Gillette. It was hard to beat the Bulls at the United Center. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a different thing, man. So, game picks, man. I said this season, early the season, this was the Bills' best shot. I don't believe this is their best team, but this is their best shot. Josh Allen's playing the best ball of their career. His defense is aligned. The running game's been great. I think this is their chance. But like I said, I'm giving Pat the Tom Brady treatment. They might lose this game on Sunday. I can see a world where that happens. It won't be on my name. I'll tell you that much. If they lose, nigga. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I said all offseason, they're going to three-peat. I said it, and I'm going to stick on it. My preseason prediction was Chiefs-Lions, and the Chiefs win in the Super Bowl. The Lions ain't that, thank God. It don't matter who. This is the Super Bowl right here. It don't even matter who come out the NFC.
Facts.
This is the Super Bowl. The winner of this game will be hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at the Kendrick Lamar concert in 2 weeks. That's what they'll be doing. That is what they'll be doing, man. So I've got the Buffalo. I got the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it's going to be a very, very close one, though. Very, very close one. I think this one goes to overtime. I think we're going to get a classic, and I think the nigga who don't like women, who's the kicker, Harrison Butker. Yeah, he's gonna kick. He's gonna get a Trump kick up there. They're gonna win. I'm gonna say this is gonna be a shootout. 34-31 Chiefs. That's where I'm going. Dante, what's your score and who you got?
I'm gonna go 24. No, I don't. I'm gonna go 27-20 Kansas City. I never vote against that light-skinned devil. I just can't do it. everything about everybody around him makes me sick. But I mean, Pat Mahomes is a very good football player. So at the end of the day, it's gonna be Pat until proven otherwise. I'm going with the Chiefs.
Mari, bring us home, man. Who you got?
Yeah, man, I said all that about the Bills, and Patrick Mahomes is still employed by the NFL, so I'm going Chiefs because this is very much belt to ass season from this point on, from this championship game to the Super Bowl. This is Patrick Mahomes. Like, this is just what it is. Give me them 31-20. Chiefs 31-20.
So we all got Chiefs Eagles. Well, Dante's got Chief Commanders. So we'll see, man. So gonna be a big weekend. Looking forward to watching all that. And I just gotta say this for the NBA, man. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but y'all know I get off topic here. But I looked at the ABC lineup for tomorrow. I'm gonna look at the camp. This is the first time the NBA has had that we have no NFL on a Saturday or no college football on a Saturday in months. And you niggas got the unmitigated gall to give me LeBron and Steph again? Stop, bro. Stop. The Warriors are trash and the Lakers are mediocre. This is the problem with the league. Give me Shea. Give me Anthony Edwards. Give me some of the younger. You put the Knicks on there, man. Give me the Celtics. I don't want to, and I love Steph. I don't want to see him out there going 8 for 22.
Yeah.
I don't want to see LeBron barely getting a dunk in. Stop. Okay, that is the problem we have over there. Give me the Sunday, man. So, Mariano, man, anything you want to discuss before we get up out of here, before we wrap this up?
So a little bit. I do want to say that I find it funny how people look at regular season quarterbacks and they start to say stuff like, oh, well, he can't show up when it counts, so we got to knock him down a couple notches. But then you look at a quarterback who was really good in the regular season, had the good numbers in the regular season, and then took it to an elite level in the playoffs, and then people just don't seem to give him his credit. He's on the Hall of Fame ballot this year. Now, I won't say too much about it. I'm just saying I find it funny. I'm noticing.
Are you talking about one half of the Manning cast?
I'm talking about the one and only Eli Manning. I just don't understand how people – I'll put it like this. Let me ask you fellas, right? You guys are sensible gentlemen. Let me ask you fellas. If I told you on draft night that Caleb Williams will have Eli Manning's career down to the numbers,
I would sell my future firstborn.
Right. And you don't even need to hear the second option.
Yeah,
you don't even need to hear the second option.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
I need to hear the second option.
You need to hear
I ain't gonna lie to you. I
can have Phillip Rivers' career.
Okay.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay.
So which one?
Good numbers, but no championships.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
as a nigga who's never seen a Super Bowl, I'm gonna take the Super Bowl.
I say that because you're entitled to like or dislike whoever you choose. That's fine. I'm not tripping, bro. It's a lot of great players that I just don't rock with. A lot of really good players that I'm just like, not for me. But my thing is, if you value winning and you value players who take it to the next level when it matters the most, there's players who do that, and then they get kind of like downplayed for it. It's like, oh, well, he had a defense. Oh, he had what? I mean, if I'm being real about this, we look at Justin Herbert and we say, man, get him a run game, get him receivers, get him this, get him that. He's going to do this. But guess what's going to happen when they get all of that? People are going to blame him for having it because that's what happens every single time. He's going to get all the weapons he needs, all the defense he needs, the coaching he needs, and they're going to say, oh, of course he won. He had this. So I'm just saying, if you really value winning, then you would probably prop up quarterbacks who actually win more than you do ones who just can win a popularity contest. That's what.
And that's a good take too, because niggas don't be honoring winning like they say. Because
they really don't.
Much as I criticize CJ this year in the divisional game, the wild card game against the Chargers, he played like shit the first half, but second half was amazing, and they won a football game. Yeah. Like if Lamar didn't win that game last week, we're not talking about that interception and that fumble. It's about how you bounce back. And like I said, I've hated on Eli before. I think he's Jay Cutler with opportunity, but he got it done in the playoffs. One thing you can say, playoff Eli, I don't know what happened. It's like a different nigga. Like I've seen him.
It matters. It matters now. He's like, wait a minute, y'all. Okay, I bet this is where they give the rings out. All right, but let me go get mine then.
He's a better postseason performer than his brother.
He has a record that still stands to this day. The yards thrown in the playoffs, and you know what I'm saying? Like it's again, I'm seeing all these old clips coming out of like the NFC Championship game from like 2012 and then before that and all that. I'm just saying, bro, he's on the ballot, and a lot of people just like they don't
Does
care
it
about
blow
him.
y'all mind that 2012 was 13 years ago?
That's insane.
Like
bro.
it's insane to me, bro. Like it's
That's crazy.
where did the time go, bro? Like niggas is getting old. Like even with the Antoine Randall thing, I watched this nigga when he was the Steelers, bro. Like,
Bro, people that were born in 2004 are gonna be able to drink alcohol legally.
bro, like what's look, my little cousin, I was there the day she was born. Now we was out to lunch like in the summer and she was drinking alcohol. Like, whoa, time out. Like, how old are you? Like, I be forgetting, like,
yeah,
we the unks now, man. That's really what it comes down to.
Absolutely, bro. My niece and nephew are grown, and I'm
Dipset
like,
Anthem
damn.
is 22 years old now. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on? We at the 20th anniversary of the massacre, my nigga. Like, we old,
documentary
bro.
and all these kind of albums. That's like, you know, these milestone albums that we remember. We were outside for, and it's like, damn, bro.
It's wild, bro. Niggas is old, man. But Mario, always good to have you on, bro. We're gonna try to get you on here once a month, man. Mikey, we have one more show, Mikey, man, before he's going on part-time. You know, so we're gonna I know I'm not looking to replace him. I will not be doing that. We're gonna keep the squad we got right now.
Shout out to Mikey.
So, shout out to Mikey. Dante will be here on just Fridays for a couple months. But we'll be back on Monday. Big show on Monday. We'll recap Championship Sunday, go a little bit in depth about the more of the people being added to the Bears coaching search. I'm just waiting for that Dennis Allen notification hit to be the new defensive coordinator. I think that's where it's leading. So we'll talk about that and more, man. Mariano, let them know where they can follow you at, bro.
Man, listen, as always, on Twitter it's at Mariano, 2 N's, 2 O's, like I tell your aunt when she asked me for money. On Instagram at Mariano Bivens, you know what I'm saying? All for the love, we right back. Just dropped the episode, recording another one this weekend. So yeah, man, holla at me.
You can follow Dante on Twitter at October's on Tay. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Barberchair Scott, man. Follow the Barber's Chair Network at Barber's Chair Net on all social media platforms. Follow our partners, H&B Media at H&B Media TV on Twitter and at H&B Media on Instagram. And of course, subscribe to our Patreon, man. If you are listening to this on the podcast version, the link is right there in the description box. If you're watching this on YouTube, take your phone up to the QR code. QR code will take you down to the link. There's 3 different tiers to subscribe to. And if you subscribe to the $10 holler, that is the Barber's Chair All Access tier, you get 25% off on your first order on the Barber's Chair Network merchandise shop. That is the bcnet.com. It's cold as hell in majority of the country, man. Go out there and get you a hoodie, man. So y'all enjoy y'all weekend, and we will holler at y'all on Monday for a new edition of the show. We up out of here.